fluorescent light and failure. We are live, and we are bad. Mexican Specs in the chat. He's the first one here, saying, before the Ari. What's going on, Mexican Spec? How are you, brother? What am I missing? Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Tony, but I waited a minute for him to come back on. I'm like, sometimes they don't come back on. So I figured I'll go live. Drone! Hubie's Garage is in the chat. Dickie Farley's in the chat. Howdy, Dickie. Charlie Roma's in the chat. It's really hard for me to read without my glasses. That's probably not a good look. But let's roll with it anyway. How's everybody doing? How did the week treat you? Carmudgeon in the chat. Welcome, brother. Welcome, brethren. How's everybody? What has this week brought us all? Chris Cadman's in the chat. Howdy, Chris. Howdy, Heidi. Cousin Abel De La Torre is in the chat. Howdy, Abel. Does nothing special. Cheers, brother. Hubie's Garage is saying, still here, haven't blown away yet. Hubie, did it get windy over there too? It finally got a little bit windy over here. I was waiting all day for it to actually become more than a, piss drizzle storm, for lack of a better way of saying. And we can have no fear. The Dougster is here. Howdy, Doug. Does nothing special, saying this week brought me a broken riding mower. That sounds like a pain in the ass. Isn't anything complicated? I'm sure you can fix it. Chris Greenaway's in the chat saying, Ari's too damn early. Exactly. It's kind of weird. The sun is still out and I'm going live. It's kind of weird. You be saying the wind is just beginning to start. Yeah, it's starting. Danny Boyd's in the chat, Uncle Corn Pop. Yeah, it was kind of weird. They told us we were going to float away. And I'm all, how high is the water, mama? But it's, nothing's happening. Hubie, did you see or read about I don't know what happened, something right here on the bridge on Del Obispo? I don't know if somebody flipped their car into the canal or if someone needed rescuing or what. But something was going down. I saw they had the aerial ladder and a couple things over there. Chris Greenaway's saying he was born to run. No, I'm just kidding. He said you got to run to run. Does nothing special, saying it's an easy fix, pain in the ass to get to it, to fix it. Saying it had to yank the deck. That don't sound fun, man. I've never worked on a ride-on mower. My brother used to have a Cub Cadet, but he ended up selling it because he didn't really have a place to mow anything after a while. George is in the chat. Howdy, brother. How are you? Hubie saying Hillary has flopped just like she did in 2016. Dino is in the chat. Dean Stevenson saying, Law and Order restored by the Grand Marshal Plan from Ari. The Food Nerd's in the chat saying, Mooney. Hi, Ma. Danny Boyd saying, do a pulley swap and hot rod that Cub Cadet. I wish he would have kept it. That's kind of a cool thing to have. Abel D saying, how's the PTSD, Ari? Breaking a sweat at night with drone nightmares? No drone nightmares yet, but the propellers still piss me off. The propellers, and then, I don't know. I was kind of wandering around wearing my Vietnam jacket, and I was listening to Quicksilver Messenger service. I was just feeling it, At Zero's in the chat. Hello, everyone. Oi, oi, oi. Get your hair cut at Zero. Dougster's Wolverine Garage is saying, this week I am gearing up to do the cab swap on shop truck. The penetrating oil is working its magic. Tomorrow and Tuesday will be reapplication, and Wednesday I'll attempt to pull the bolts from the good cab. Nice, nice. Did you use the Gibbs, Dougster? Danny Boyd saying, no Bones movies, no drones type. Chris Cadman saying, how is the transmission working in the apartment? Honestly, I really love that new transmission. I mean, it is so everything that that little 3-speed was not. Danny Boyd, you read my mind, man. Chris Greenaway saying that yeehaw from RA was a genuine acceleration happy yip. Yeah, it was, man. I was so happy to have that truck back on the road. It was just a cool couple days. You know, Hubie followed me to drop it off at my buddy's shop, and then he helped me out get my exhaust done and everything. And you know, it's just kind of cool when things come together a little bit. You know, it was difficult. It was some work, and probably more than more than I could handle on a few bases. But we got it together. Abel D's asking, Ari, what happened to the diesel job application? Well, I went in Monday for the interview, and the gentleman had the locations confused. Even though I had confirmed both digitally and verbally for one location, he thought I was interviewing in Huntington Park, not Fullerton. Which, for you guys who aren't local, that's a pretty much, it's like twice as long of a drive from where I'm at. So I rescheduled for Tuesday, and I interviewed with him. And I had just applied for the lube tech position, but I think I technically met some of the base requirements for the mechanic 1 position. So he interviewed me for the mechanic 1 position, and he asked me about 50 technical questions, and I think I had good answers, decent answers for maybe half of the questions. And it was honestly a little bit embarrassing. But he kind of leveled with me. He got the point that I, had, some mechanical aptitude, understood what he was talking about. And he asked me, like, hey, do you really, you really want to do this kind of work? I said, yeah, definitely. That's why I'm here. And he gave me the job. So I'm starting out as a lube tech, and I start my training tomorrow. And they started me at a slightly higher rate of pay than I would normally start at. And yeah, I got the job, man. So that I start training tomorrow. I do 2 weeks of training, and that's going to be down south of here. I do the 2 weeks of training. I think they're going to put me up in a hotel and give me some per diem for food and stuff. And then after that, I'm going to be working in North Orange County, doing third shift for a month. And if I prove I'm not completely useless, they'll probably put me on second shift like I applied for. So, but yeah, I was able to get the job. Duxter's Wolverine Garage is saying, Gibbs is not available in Michigan. I've never seen it, at least. Here we use PB Blaster or Seafoam Deep Creep. High Buck guys use Croil. Yeah, the Croil is great. Hubie had a can of it, and he let me use some on just a few parts of the truck, and it was totally great. And it smells really good, too. Danny Boyd saying a 50-50 ATF and acetone. Yeah, as long as you use it right away, because the acetone will evaporate out of there. And at Zero's asking how fast I've gone. I only drove the truck back here really. Yesterday I didn't really get an excuse. I went and picked up my dad's other car from my buddy's house, and then I came back down here. I didn't do much at all, so I've only ran it back down south. But I was going pretty fast at Zero. I mean, a lot faster than I normally go in that truck. It's weird to be going 65 or 70 and then hit the gas and have it actually do something. Food nerds talking about Hillary. She's saying she usually leaves a few bodies behind. Chris Cadman saying changing spark plugs. I mean, I could, I guess. I got Autolite 26s in there. You'd be saying food nerd. Yes, she does. Fortunately, the hurricane has been way weaker than the news media hype. Yeah, what's with that? I'm not with the fear mongering. You know what I mean? And then they're talking about some 5-point something earthquake in Ventura. And, 5.1's like a little shimmy. So it's like, I don't know. Nathan's Mopar Garage is in the chat. Howdy, Nathan. How are you, brother? Turbo Tom 416 is in the chat. Good job. He said, now you can get really dirty. I'm not too afraid of dirty work there, man. It's clean work has never been a standard for me. I mean, look, it's my day off and I'm still filthy, so that goes to show you something. Abel D saying, congrats, sorry, glad you're back on your feet. I'm still on my ass, Abel. Don't give me that much credit. Dougster saying, Ari, you should send me some Gibbs. It can be sent by old snail mail. I can order you some, Doug. They got it on Amazon. They got a 3-pack for a decent price. You'd be saying, shoot, you're in the fast lane passing cars. Yeah, it was weird, man. I was trying to baby her, you know what I mean, just because it's a maiden voyage type thing. But I was like, well, you got to see if there's a vibration in the drive line or anything like that. So I just, I just stepped on it a little bit and let her do her thing. The only thing that happened was the driver's side exhaust flange, the two of the nuts actually kind of loosened themselves off. So I started to get an exhaust leak, and eventually it kind of just opened up enough to where the donut wasn't donutting. So I got to give the downtown folks here a couple wraps off the 350. Brian M's in the chat saying, time to put a cage in the truck. Never. Mike N saying, did we ever figure out what happened to UTG? No, alien abduction, I'm sure. Danny Boyd saying, sweat, clear coat, and Bondo dust was my dirt today. I couldn't do it, man. Hubie saying, I was napping on the couch and the quake woke me up. The animals were weirded out too. I didn't feel it down here, Hubie. I was just doing my laundry and I got the alert on my phone and I was like, all right, whatever. Dean saying, Blake from Bad Tree Productions loves you, you filthy animal. Blake's the man. He's a funny dude. Dougster saying, I'll order me some then. Duh, Amazon, of course. Yeah, no, I mean, it's good. I like the Gibbs because it's paint safe, and it's one of those things to where you can coat metal with it and it'll actually come out of the metal, not so much like ATF, to where you're having to hit it with acids and everything else like that. Cousin Mike's saying, what's up, Ari? He's in the chat. Howdy, Mike. How are you? I was just on Cheryl's live for a second. Lapagan, Dikitan. Langa! At Zero's got it right. He's saying it rains here. These just can't drive in it. No one knows how to drive in it. No one drives for their conditions. Everybody wants to be all badass. Like, I'm not scared of this. Hydroplaning doesn't exist in my world. Tony's got taken by aliens. He's on his way to Mars. Chris Greenaway saying puppy abduction. Cousin Mike saying super. He's super. Watching you and Cheryl. Nice, man. Yeah, I think it was Cheryl and Leo Journey are live right now. Mike N saying, well, I hope he had his tinfoil helmet on before he blasted off. Oh, man. Dean saying the puppy is gorgeous. Yeah, that border collie's really a great looking dog. And she's beautiful. I like those dogs a bunch. The farrier, when I lived in Paso Robles, Central California, there's a lot of horses and vineyards and everything out there. But the farrier out there had a border collie that was just a sweet, sweet, calm dog. So I've liked him ever since. You be saying they got EMP'd? You never know. Check my battery real fast here, guys. Just making sure. I'll plug the phone in, but if I plug it in, I can't lean it like this, so. As you were saying, wind's up. Cool. Get the sweat out of here. Sucks. Yeah, no, it's been humid all day. It was worse in that laundromat at Zero. It was pretty bad. Chris Greenaway is saying, can't recommend the Chemical Guys butter wet wax. If anything, it smells amazing. I wouldn't spend money on that, man. I'm a cheap bastard. Dougster saying, Lady Dougster on set, completely dismantled and cleaned, and reassembled her Solex car back on her car. I'm so proud of her. Yeah, you sent me some pictures of that, man. That was badass. You're saying you boiled everything in Pine Sol, right? Mike N saying, why do I feel like I'm the only one here who isn't a moderator? There's a lot of moderators. Like, these guys, a lot of people need to share links and stuff, so I just made them moderators. Chris Greenaway is saying recommend it though. Wait, you can't recommend it or you recommend it? Well, I'm lost there. Dean Stevenson saying Solex 1 barrel. French for excellent. Doug, you're saying, yep, boiled in pine salt and a little water for about 40 minutes. We let it go for 2 games of cribbage. I won both games. Nice. Turbo Tom is saying, John helped me get to 398 subscribers. Now we're talking. If you guys aren't subscribed to Turbo Tom, check him out. I'm subscribed to Tom. Miss Olive Drab's in the chat. Howdy, Olive. How are you? Chris Greenaway is saying Ari even gave Dakota mod powers. Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? We always timed him out on Tony's live. I thought, hey, I've got a channel now. I can switch this up. He was first shall be last. He was last shall be first. That kind of thing, right? Hubie saying, so no driving the truck since getting it home. Was going to ask about the flat spot. The Edelbrock carb looked good and was a good price too. Hubie, yeah, I want to jump on that carb if no one buys it. I thought that price was great, and the fact that it was a spread board too, it was too convenient. The flat spot in the carb is annoying. It's really, really annoying. I can work around it, obviously, but it's not something I feel like working around. I want to either order a kit or just buy buy a new carb. Dave Lewis is saying, congrats on the grease monkey job. Thanks, brother. I think it's a good step for me. I'll leave the machining to you smart folks. Mohawk's in the chat. Mohawk62 saying, can't stay, need to get to bed. Glad you stopped in, man. But yeah, the flat spot's annoying. And I really, as much as I would like to just run a different carb, you know what I mean? The ass of a man that I am, I want to figure out the quadrajet. I want to at least be able to get it right before I just replace it. You know what I mean? And I've been obviously diving into this book here Dave Lewis gave me. Thank you, Dave. And trying to get a good plan of action for that. I definitely need a better rebuild kit for the carb because all I really changed was the plunger on the accelerator pump. So it's like I gave it like a lazy refurbish. I didn't really know what I was looking at, and I got it right-ish, obviously, but that flat spot's annoying as sin. Olive saying Dakota was very frustrated that he couldn't time himself out when he was made a mod. Got unfinished project in the chat. Howdy, brother. Did you like the City Cats, man? Dougster saying, plus Friday, my dad gave my 14-year-old nephew his 76 Nova 4-door. It has a 383 Chevy with a 4-barrel and headers. We will begin working on it next Saturday. Nice, man. He's stoked. Hubie's saying, I knew the flat spot would be an issue, but just needed to get it going again. Yeah, you tried to tell me a few things. It's like you've been there before or something. Yeah, Hubie gave me a lot of great advice, a lot of pointers. He set up that distributor for me on his Sun machine, and obviously it does a great job. Thank you again, Hubie. I can't thank you enough, man. It's been a cool couple weeks, and everything, hanging out. Oh man, I really can't thank you enough, man. Unfinished project saying grease monkey job. Yeah, unfinished. I got it starting out as a lube tech at a diesel shop here. All I'm saying, where's a flat spot up here? Right as I touch the gas, basically. Mike N saying I use a 7542 metering rod. I should get a kit, just a proper kit with some stuff in it. Mohawk saying I love a well-tuned quadrajet. Danny Boyd saying, yeah, points distributor. Chris Greenaway saying Hubie, the real MVP. I think so. Mohawk saying, have you adjusted the center screw, Ari? I have not. Unfinished project saying diesel C10 incoming. I would love to unfinished if I could find an old 12 valve or something. They're heavy, but it'd be a really great swap. Olive's saying what Mohawk said. I'm also thinking don't forget linkages. I'll write it down. Oh, yeah. Danny Boyd saying, unfinished project, been eating homegrown chili peppers and got some lettuce and a tomato tonight. Actually, I got some Apache peppers growing. Apache peppers. I wonder why I bought them. And they're pretty dang good. They're spicy. I want to send some to Cousin Mike since he's making hot sauce now. Yeah, like I said, everybody's talking about the lube tech job being dirty or this or that, and it's like I don't care about getting dirty. Yeah, you know what I mean. There's no way in the world I can get dirtier doing that than tearing down a 55-year-old vehicle in a hot rod shop. There's some filthy stuff under those cars. People don't degrease them. My truck's also really filthy. Hubie's Garage is saying it's a transition from the idle circuit to cruise. What Hubie said. Danny Boyd saying the one pepper looks like a hot chili, but it's not hot at all. Very flavorful. These ones are hot. They got a good flavor. They're real acidic, but they don't linger too much. You're not sitting there like, after eating them. They're pretty dang good. Unfinished project saying just pop a hole in the filter with a punch. Yeah, exactly. I have a Mayhew. It's a pry bar, but it's a flat pry bar and it's strikeable. I use that for anything like that instead of messing up all my flatheads. Mopar Man 1978 in the chat. Howdy, brother. Dougster saying you'd be surprised how good a heaping lettuce, tomato, and mayo sandwich can be. Thick cut tomato. Yeah, definitely. Especially you get some good heirloom tomatoes. I used to grow a lot of Cherokee purples, and I thought they made just a great side by themselves. I would make a steak, and I would do thick slices of the Cherokee purple with some sea salt on them, and I feel like it was a great side. Chris sent me some wax result pictures. Nice, man. I'm sure you did a great job. You detailed the hell out of those cars, man. That's something I can never do. I genuinely, most of the cars I've owned, I change the oil on them more than I washed them. I mean that. I kind of a dirty bastard. Not like old dirty bastard, but kind of a dirty bastard. Actually, Old Dirty Bastard had a quote that I like a lot. It said, "This ain't something new, just going to come up out of nowhere. No, this is something old and dirty. Unfinished is saying hot bell pepper. No, not a bell pepper. Apache peppers unfinished. Chris Cadman saying I have to service 3 diesel tractors tomorrow. Nice, man. That sounds like fun. Mohawk 62 is saying on some of the old quads there is a screw down in the center right behind the air cleaner bolt. Usually has a plug over it. I'm going to double check. Like I said, I've been reading into it a little bit. I haven't jumped on it quite yet. I was trying to kind of keep my mind clear for this training I got this week, but I definitely need to get to it because that's about the only thing on the truck that's bothersome. Besides that, she's just smooth and happy and everything else, and the Y pipe on there sounds nice. I can't think of too much else that I really want to change. Obviously I need to do the basic maintenance that I was going to do before when it had the 6-cylinder in it. But, just need to get to that carb. Poor man saying, all right, if you need different veggie seeds, let me know. My mom grows all kinds, including herbs. Geez, maybe when I get a garden again, Mopar man. I'm just only got the couple potted plants now. Chris Greenaway is saying, all right, problem is when you run in my area, you realize you can make old paint look good. And once paint looked like garbage. Wait, I'm not understanding the second part of that, Chris. Buff, Del Campo, and Kim in the chat. Howdy, Buff. Howdy, Kim. How are you guys? 66 FT Legos saying, can you beatbox? I cannot. I would, I'm already embarrassing myself enough where I would try. I cannot beatbox. Beatbox. I like how a lot of that 90s stuff is coming back so hard. You know what I mean? People are really into it. Buff, did you guys ever figure out the hub on that crankshaft? You sent me an email, but I forgot to reply to it. Lily Cameron in the chat, welcome. Buff Del Campo saying she bought another dead Dodge truck, so we're towing it home. What year, Buff? Opar man saying, you can do 5-gallon buckets or small raised bed for the garden veggies. I would really like to. I don't have much space right now. I got just a couple potted plants. I had them at the shop. And even that, of course, Ray complained about that. Lily saying hi and hey, welcome, Lily. Glad to have you. Of course, Ray complained about the potted plants, saying that they detracted from normal activities. Lily Cameron saying, thank you, Lily. Appreciate it. I hope the channel's not too boring. I hope the live stream's not too boring. It's usually just me ranting and answering people's comments and questions. Chris Cadman saying, did you say pot plants? Stoic Steel's in the chat saying, Dodge pickups don't ever really die. I believe it, Stoic Steel. I mean, I think anything with a 318, you know what I mean? Those things are hard to kill. Ed Zero's been trying to kill his 318 for years, and that thing won't die. Chris Greenaway saying, are we going to do the live car show? I have to figure out how to edit a video first, Chris, but I would like to. Mopar man's asking if I have a flat roof. Technically, yes, but I would probably catch some flack if I tried to plant anything up there. Yeah, do you guys want me to take you outside so you can see the hurricane? Oh, man. Yep, boring day over here. Just did the laundry, sat around, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy at all. Opar man saying you can plant peppers and tomatoes upside down and hang them in small pots. I've seen that. You can do the whole aeroponics thing. Mohawk 62's out for the night, saying have a good night, everyone. Going to bed. Catch you later, Ari. Stay safe. Thanks, Mohawk. Appreciate you stopping in, man. I'll check that center screw you're telling me about. I appreciate that. I haven't gotten that far in the book yet. Still learning how to read, really. But have a good week, brother. Thanks so much for stopping in. Check your fluids, man. Mike N saying, if you come across any old toy accordions at the new job, leave that shit alone. Yeah, I'm not cleaning up a thing. Mike N saying, congrats on the new gig, by the way. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's a much better job. You know what I mean? A much better rate of pay and some actual benefits and no D-bag boss over my shoulder, which is pretty golden. Buff is saying it was the correct converter and crank, but it had rust, so it didn't go together. Kim pulled the engine and cleaned the rust and put the engine back in while I was asleep. Nice, man. That's cool. You guys didn't have to get any new parts. I was ready to donate, though, man. I know you guys are actually building your stuff. I'm just letting mine sit in storage. Just letting mine sit in storage. I'm buzzing over here. Unfinished Project is saying, finally got to test my brand new, to me, Baylor today. Never missed a knot. I was just checking out that short, Unfinished, but it was getting kind of fuzzy on me. And I went live right away. I got 80, saw a squirrel. Gone. Stoic Steel's asking, did I get the diesel job? I sure did, man. They interviewed me for like a mechanic one position. I was too green for that, obviously. It was, like I said, a little embarrassing. And, but they hired me on just as a lube tech so I can learn and kind of work off of that. And I'm very happy with that because it's something I'd like to get into. I see it. I see you guys doing it. It obviously, treats you all right. No one ever said it was easy work. I'm not anticipating that at all, but Foggy's in the chat. Howdy, brother. How are you? Welcome. Buff Del Campo is saying Kim's new truck is a 92. Oh, crap. Same year as me, man. That's not good. Nothing good happened in 92. Desert Storm, the riots, me. Whew. You'd be saying, I'm glad I wasn't watching the news today. I would have been passed out drunk by now if I had bought off on all the fear they were peddling around about Hurricane Hillary. Yeah, it was bad. I was anticipating a full-on squall. And then, I'm kind of thinking about it, and it's like, well, it rained like hell this year, and we always get Santa Ana winds, so it's kind of a combination of the two, which, it's not to be taken lightly. There is some flooding, some of the freeways get bad, different areas, of course, but not around here. There's a huge drainage canal. It does pretty well, I think. They really blew it out of proportion. Chris Greenaway is saying, Ari, paint the inside of the oil pan, then wrap all the rubber in black mesh. Foggy's saying, Zero, going to send you some more metal. The metal! Chris Cadman saying, Ari, do you ever ride motorcycles? No, I'd love to, Chris, but out here it's pretty dangerous, man. People do not know what they're doing on the road. Stoic Steel saying, that's great, brother, man. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm just so glad to get my foot in the door and kind of learn that stuff, because I don't know, it seems kind of like a fitting line of work, and service and equipment is something I can do anywhere if I'm trying to escape from this place. So it seemed practical. Buff Del Campo saying, except you're not completely rusted out. Ad Zero's saying, Hubie's, at least it scared the sheep people from driving today. Usually maybe 40 minutes in the rain. Red trucks are coming. Yep. Olive's saying, now I feel old. 1992. But it doesn't, I look older at least. It's like when you see, two pennies and one's from like the 80s and it's shiny, and then you got one from 92 and it's tarnished and kind of droned up and stuff. Dougster's saying, shop truck will be a 92 when I'm done. At least it's titled as one and will have a correct grill. Nice. Edger is saying, haven't heard any sirens today, so the fear worked straight up. Usually rain. Like Adzero I was talking about earlier, there was something over here on the bridge over the little drainage canal on Del Obispo. I think somebody flipped a car into it, or somebody needed rescue out of it, or something or another. Chris Cadman saying, heavy equipment repair is good money. It's decent money. I definitely didn't make good money working in the hot rod shop. I really made it kind of a pittance there. But, I made it work. It's not, got to start somewhere, right? Turbo Tom saying my toolbox is 1987. Nice. Olive, don't defend the fearmongers. Opar Man saying a hurricane is the only time the wind and the rain and flooding will wash the turds and needles and the woke off the street. Yes, exactly. You know what I mean? We're going to get, it'll be like a tidal wave of homeless and hypodermics. Buff Del Campo saying I have a 1975 Snap-on toolbox. Buff, those ones are so cool. It kind of looks almost like a Kennedy box, right? Olive, he's not wrong. Where I lived, they had to actually, they were in Hubie knows, they were in hazmat suits spraying down the Civic Center in Santa Ana because of a hepatitis B outbreak. He's not even exaggerating. At Zero's Olive, he says, here, since we live here, folks have trouble driving and phone combo. What I mean is, rain scares folks, so they don't drive during actual rain days. Tomorrow I expect no traffic. Danny Boyd saying the hurricane used to wash all those layabouts out to sea. Mopar Man saying San Francisco. No, Mopar Man, that was here. That was in the city I lived in at the time. They were actually bleaching down the whole Civic Center area because it had turned into like a valley of homeless. Buff Del Campo saying it's a bottom box, but now when I think about it, it was a used box on the Snap-on truck in '75. Nice. There was a really, really nice box on the Snap-on truck. I would have bought that thing. If I worked in a shop that wasn't like just an absolute donkey shop, like Full Throttle was, I would have bought that toolbox. But the Husky's great. I don't really need anything besides that. I'm just an ass of a man that likes spending my money on expensive tools. I'm saying people in low-lying shelters could be screwed. It's not because the poors are woke. They often aren't. Olive, like I said, it's really disproportionate the way they kind of displayed this to the public, they tried to say it was going to be a Category 4 hurricane, which is, I think, one less than Katrina. And I'll take you outside. Show you guys this the catastrophic hurricane. I can't walk. No, it's just wind and rain. It's really not that bad. If it blows this sycamore tree on me, though, I'm going to be pissed. You can see out here, I put the truck over there so it's not anywhere near this sycamore tree because this thing does drop stuff. But it's just a storm. This really, come on, Wait, what can you do? I'm going to hide from this? Batten the hatches. Get me in the shelter. Look, it's not even raining on me. Look, glasses. It's like a drop on them. This is weak. There it goes, a little bit of rain on me. This is Ari DeBernia reporting for my own channel. This is Hurricane Hillary at full tilt. The ocean water is receding. The tsunami is incoming. Impending doom is upon us. Come on. Come on, man. Come on, man. Look at her out there, though. Come on. Yeah, you ever seen anything that beautiful? Oh. Yeah, buddy. Can't beat that. Look, it's rinsing off the truck. Hurricane Hillary is cleaning my truck. I mean, it's a storm. It's a tropical storm, but it's like, I don't know. Chris Cadman saying, drone. Have to do drone drills. All right, this phone's getting low battery, though. I'm gonna plug myself in so I can continue streaming. Yeah, I think my cat's the only one who's worried. But let him be worried. He's a cat. Plug the phone in. Yeah, see a little rain on the glasses. There's some leaves on the ground. The rain gutters have rain flowing in them. All right, what all did I miss with when I was being an idiot here? You'd be saying at first rain, oils on or in the roads rise to the surface, and people who tailgate here rear end everybody. Yeah, you'll see some pile ups. Stoic still saying lights, camera, propaganda, action. Mike N saying, yeah, that's not a hurricane, that's a tropical storm, barely. Yeah, pretty much, man. You know what I mean? And it's like I'm a couple miles from the ocean. I mean, I could ride a bicycle there. I could walk there if I was really an ass. But Chris Greenaway is saying, she don't know she's beautiful. Danny Boyd saying, love them chrome reverse wheels and baby moons. Thanks, brother. Unfinished project just linked Stoic Steel's channel. Spencer's drink reviews and chugs is in the chat. Howdy, Spencer. How are you? Left Del Campo saying back in your studio. Mike N saying the earthquake was way worse than the storm was, it seems. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it shook something around. 5 point something's decent, but I mean, it's one of those things. Live chat, not top chat. I want everybody's messages. Chris Cadman say, I'm in the Tornado Alley, Midwest, and stay in the campground most of the summer. Nighttime storms are spooky. Yeah, I've been in some pretty serious storms. I drove through Texas once, and I had just gotten my driver's license, so I didn't. I'm like, why is the sky purple and yellow? And I drove through some pretty serious thunderstorms. That's when I learned not to use my cruise control in the rain. All I'm saying, around here, people seem to think that they're safer if they speed up in crappy weather. Wrong. Yeah. Yeah, at zero got I think in Ventura or something, they got a 5.1. I don't know. People get so uppity about natural disasters and stuff, and I'm just like, come on, you know what I mean? If it's that bad, what can I do about it? You know? At zero, I didn't feel it either. I just got the alert on my phone. Buff saying, looks like Ojai, somewhere up there. 5.3, yeah, yeah. Nothing, I mean, I don't know. He'd be saying 5.3 in Ojai, that was worse than Hillary. Yeah, exactly. This is kind of annoying, really. Mopar man, yeah, exactly. Chris Greenway saying, what are you talking about? We got 40 inches of snow overnight, and people think with ice it's a Daytona 500 bumper with bumper cars. You Americans complaining. Well, I'm sorry our driving doesn't appeal to your Canadian sensibilities, Chris. Buff Del Campo saying 5.3 is a little tremor out there. I was in a 7.2 in Yuma a few years ago. Yeah, seven's pretty, that's up there. I don't know how big the one was that dropped the freeway and everything, but you know what I mean. It definitely wasn't 5 point something. They're just trying to make people think it's the end times or something. Probably a distraction from whatever else is actually going on. All it's saying depends what the place is used to. Even if we do get some snow in Georgia, I can't really go play because everyone else is an idiot with better insurance. Chris Catton saying shaking all over. Yeah, it's like it's one of those things, you know what I mean? We're born in Yuma at zero. That's horrible, man. That explains so much. The planet being fucked up is right. What is the what right is actually just take a moment of silence for my hope for humanity that just died after reading that comment. All right. Okay. Chris Greenaway is saying, damn, like you guys complain about idiots, come up here for a winter as a driver, rear ends you because he doesn't believe snow tires work. Buff Del Campo saying Yuma is my favorite city. I'm just kidding, Buff. I've never actually been there. I mean, I've driven through like the dunes and stuff. I remember doing like a border check there. I took a weird route down through, forget, like that down the 805 towards Yuma and then up Arizona to the 40. It was kind of a weird route. I took that when I drove to Arkansas. Foggy's saying, Chris, that's New York for you. Yeah, I don't know. I've driven in snow one time and I just drove slow. Stoic Steel saying snow tires. Just put ag tires on and drive under 15 miles per hour. Yeah, I guess just crawl, right? I mean, if it's safe, you just got to be able to get around somehow without freezing to death. Unless you got a dog sled team or something, I mean, kind of got to drive, right? Chris Cadman saying never hug a cactus. Never trust a man in a blue trench coat. At Zero was asking Buff, he's saying, remember a place called Chester's? My adopted grandparents lived there. Whole corner of the restaurant has a photo of us as kids. Rest in peace, Bill and Be Best. They own the Shell gas station. Nice. Hubie's Garage is saying we had a big fire light off 2 towns away from the Montana property. It hit 15,000 acres really quick. Lots of stuff is happening. It's all V for Vendetta. We're all going to get Mauied. Big slash and burn for real estate. Chris Cadman saying, don't eat spinach with a stranger. Foggy saying, get the studded snow tires. Chris Greenaway saying it's illegal in Ontario. Yeah, but I mean, there's probably a very short list of what isn't illegal in Ontario. All is saying drought does make shit flammable. Well, that's where they screwed up this time, is because they fearmongered so much for Hurricane Hillary, and now we're getting some rain, so they're not going to be able to fearmonger for the wildfires this year. Hubie's saying Maui. Is that the new Epstein? Exactly. It's the real estate version of being Epstein. Got Liz42S in the chat. I think that I'm fairly. Is that Portuguese? I'm not sure, but welcome, Liz. Olive saying mostly you just want studded snows for ice if allowed. Mike N saying why illegal in Ontario? The studded tires are better, I thought. gone over here from the show. I'm unenlightened, Liz. I'm sorry. Chris Greenaway saying, all right, but Mary Jane is legal now. We can't find anyone to work. Seattle, British Columbia. Chris Cadman saying they ruined the roads. Studs chew the pavement. All right, that makes sense. Opar Man saying, my dad was originally from California. He said if morons would cut back the brush, etc., from their house, they wouldn't lose their houses. Basically, Buff is saying, Chester's, yeah, I've been there many times. Didn't see the picture. I'm going bubble water, guys. I need the hard stuff. Kenny Boyd saying, but they make sweet sparks. I have no idea. I've never had to drive with the studded tires. Obviously. But yeah, like I said, now they're not going to be able to fearmonger about the whole wildfires thing. So I don't know what they're going to do now. That's like the, and that was probably like the rest of the year's agenda for the news. You'd be saying, Mopar Man site 1978, that is about the best you can do is clear brush. We require 100-foot brush clearance in the wildland urban interface. Chris Cadman saying, what year is the truck? 1960, Chris. Ed Zero saying, Buff, when you walked in, far right corner, they sponsored all the Pee Wee football and Little League. Wooden plaque with their names. Nice. Stoic Steel saying, around here, when there's a red flag warning, a lot of farmers will hook up a disc to one of their tractors in case of a brush fire. Unfinished Project is saying, Earth is a closed system. Everything that's pollution was already here or we wouldn't have it. Olive saying, depends really, already. Believe it or not, the agenda of the weather is not all about trying to thwart bravado. Yeah, but I mean, that they pretty much, I mean, they do the whole cloud seeding thing and everything. It's, I don't want to get. Buff Del Campo is saying, I want to go back to Yuma, but it's a long way from Tennessee. Yeah, if you get down here, Buff, it'd be cool to have some coffee with you or something, man. Dougster saying, time for bed. Good night, all. I have to go to work. See you Sunday night. Dougster is out. Dougster, have a great week, man. Talk to you soon, I'm sure, and make sure to check your fluids, man. Opar Man saying, a lot of that brush out in California has a natural flammable sap oil in it. When it gets dry, it makes the brush even more combustible. Yeah, plus we had the whole Pacific Gas and Electric with their unmaintained equipment. They started a huge fire. You know what I mean? You got places that get hot enough to just combust, apparently. I don't know. Stoic Steel saying it saved a lot of houses, Hubie. Yeah, clearing the brush for sure. Ad Zero saying, oh, we have the best government clouds. Straight, the way God wants them. That's... Mike N saying, take the 310 to Yuma. Johnny Yuma, the rebel. He roamed through the West. Buff Del Campo saying it's likely I'll be in Yuma within the next few months for some work that's coming up. Top secret, Buff? Chris Greenway saying, are those blank stairs inside? It's okay, bro. The drones aren't going through the concrete and studs and drywall. Can't be sure, Chris. Sometimes, you're just walking and then a drone you just get droned. All I'm saying, a growth spurt and then drought can make more wildfires. Buff Del Campo saying doing some flight testing. Nice. Hopefully not on any drones. I'm just kidding. I'm not big on propellers anymore. Really, I'm not. But you know what I mean? That doesn't mean, like, I still would like to own a triplane if I ever could. Hubie saying, Stoic, I bet we used to have pre-cut fire breaks parallel to our roads and highways in or near the brush. Mopar Man saying chemtrails are now called geoengineering by NASA. Buff Del Campo saying big drones. Nice. I mean, I guess the big ones are kind of cool. They're not, I mean, if they fly into your face, you're not going to get to have PTSD from it. But yeah, Buff, if you're down here, man, it'd be really cool to meet up and get a coffee or something. All of saying Harry needs a cope cage for old pain. Unfinished, just link my mom's channel. Video's coming soon. She's going to record some of her cooking eventually and share with you guys. Adzero is saying, Father. He messed it up. Chris Greenaway saying, problem is coming from a guy who spent his young life in the woods. Trees lose their leaves in the winter, creating a foliage blanket, and the undergrowth then dies next year. That stuff. Buff Del Campo saying, what does she cook? Everything, Buff. Everything. I mean, you name it. Everything. And I mean, I know a lot of people say that, but Mom's pretty authentic. She had a Thai food phase. She's in an Indian food phase. She'll cook you a perfectly authentic Persian food. All the classics, diner classics. I mean, anything. Mexican food. She really, I mean, just cooks insanely good Mexican food. Real Mexican food, too, not just like a casserole with a bunch of corn and salsa in it. Chris Cadman saying I'm 6'3" and have a fear of ceiling fans. Yeah, Chris, because you go to like stretch or change your shirt or something and it's whap, gets your hand. Danny Boyd said, I wonder if anybody wagered an Al Gore carbon credit over a drag race. Oh, Chris, I know what you're talking about. That crazy autumn underbrush you get. Stoic still saying, nice, Hugh. You got to get ahead of the fire. That's for sure. All I was saying, if there's a tinderbox, what happens to be the match could be anything. Yes. You be saying truth. 0. I see chemtrail on a perfectly clear day, turn into a cloudy day about an hour or two later. Buff Del Campo saying, I live my life on the road eating fast food. Now I watch cooking YouTube and cook at home. And Kim cooks too, a lot. Nice, Buff. That's actually probably what I should be doing for a living because I'm a much better cook than mechanic. but yeah, I love cooking, man. I miss actually having a kitchen to cook in, that's for sure. Unfinished project saying, Cabinet, I've hit so many ceiling fans, I'm not even that tall. They're really not, they're kind of one of those things. Very propeller-like. You can eat, no, you can't. It's horrible. It's hard to eat decent on the road. That's why it's nice down here. You know, you get to like an agricultural area in the middle of nowhere and there's a taco truck or something. You can get some actual home cooked food, you know, close to it at least. Buff Del Campo saying I should do a cooking in the shop video. That would be rad, Buff. I've been wanting to do one on the tailgate of my truck because I always have my Coleman, my 425E, and I have a cast iron skillet in the truck all the time. So I thought it'd be cool to fry up a steak on the tailgate. Dave Lewis is saying hot dogs on the exhaust manifolds. UB's telling Mopar, man, there's some truth to that. Proper forest management includes controlled burns. Definitely. Doesn't it actually take a burn for some of those evergreens to properly seed? Kenny Boyd saying the engine bay chef. Mike Yen saying cooking with a heat gun. Yeah. I mean, you could do it, I guess. You could probably make something decent. Buff Del Campo saying weld vertical tubes on the headers and cook burritos in them. Mexican Spec is saying at 0. Yes, it rained all night last night, and it's just cloudy right now. Chris Cadman saying fire opens the pine cones. Right, that's what it is. It actually like doesn't thing. All I'm saying, iron skillet and a map torch, charred rare steak. Any steak yummies? I've made some really good stuff with that. Just a single, obviously, just a single cast iron pan and that Coleman stove. I did that video. I was cooking on 110 octane. Danny Boyd saying my chili dinner is coming home to roost. Tinderbox in my shorts. Buff Del Campo saying I've seen potatoes cooked on the exhaust manifold or exhaust crossover on the intake manifold. Stoic Steel saying my friend's grandpa was a Vietnam vet and hated ceiling fans because they reminded him of medevac helicopters. Oh man. Just sitting there watching blades go by. I guess I could see it. I'd say I feel his pain, but I don't want to compare. Danny Boyd saying, I always light my grill with my map torch. Map gas is a beautiful thing. It really is. Mopar Man saying, Hubie, I don't know if the conservation department is still doing this, but they will pay you to clean out the underbrush on your wooded property. Glade will produce more H2O than what is currently growing. Chris Greenaway saying, it's because pine trees are the first to go in a fire. Pine cones don't actually easily degrade. You can pick up the gray cones from 2 falls ago. UB saying, we used to eat frozen burritos on the fire engine exhaust manifolds while out on the fire line. Nice. Just little Tina's burritos or what? Buff Del Campo saying torches are for cooking and welding. Yeah, the torch is actually really, really helpful. I mean, you can brown stuff with it. I've used it to supplement heat when I was trying to do like stir fry type of stuff. Because when they do a wok, they've got it on a jet burner. So I've tried to kind of imitate that with a torch before. Danny Boyd saying pines might be my favorite tree. Nice. Oh, Parman saying old man Peabody. I want to plant pines as far as the eye could see. Orange groves. Orange groves. They tore them down. They encased the river in cement. Buffalo Compost saying any cooking on the engine should be wrapped in aluminum foil. Yeah, right. You get a little exhaust taste. Might be a little carcinogenic there. Stoic still saying wildland firefighting looks like damn hard work, but kind of fun. Yeah, Hubie was telling me like the wildland firefighting that's referred to as the hand crew, and it's pretty tough, dangerous work, but it does seem pretty cool. New Guy's Guitar is in the chat saying, "Hey man, hey everyone, how you doing, brother? Been catching a lot of your shorts on my feed, man. It's cool you pick so many songs like that. Not too much rhyme or reason or anything. You just play everything, man. That's cool. Versatile." Hubie's Garage is saying to give you sack lunches, and 1 year our brown bags had frozen burritos in them. We didn't complain. We just figured it out. We were hungry. We have foil cooked too. Nice. Danny Boyd saying marinated oil leaking from the valve covers. Unfinished Project is saying the most used for cloud seeding, silver iodide, potassium iodide, and dry ice, liquid propane. After promising research, the use of hygroscopic materials such as table salt is becoming more popular. Hydroscopic. Chris Greenaway is saying the problem is underbrush is also a habitat for a lot of native North American grouse and timber doodles. So no underbrush, no them. That would be a sad day. New Guy's Guitar is saying, I like anything that's got guitar in it. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I believe it, man. That's cool. I've been thinking on it, but I'll come up with a request. Hubie's Garage is saying 2 of our guys got burned real bad in the Silverado fire about 5 years ago. Hand crew guys. That was a bad one, Hubie. I remember that. Canyon Fire. And then there was Canyon Fire 2, like right after, right? Opar Man saying antifreeze marinade from the movie 18. At Zero saying Stand By Me is on. Train bridge scene. I'm going to give your fathers a call. I'm going to give all your fathers a call. Except for the loony up in Tokus. Stoic Steel saying, has anyone heated up SpaghettiOs on the dash of a pickup when they were a kid, or is it just me? Never did that, man. We were too poor for SpaghettiOs. That's a joke. New Guy's Guitar saying, let me know, man. I'll do my best. I appreciate it, brother. Your brother, I just saw him upload a video too. He put a new nitrous shot on his Mustang. I got to check that out. I like that he's just always fussing with that car. It's a good time to insert a Ford joke. Buffalo Compost saying, we did make many hot cheese sandwiches on the dash in Yuma out at the proving ground. Chris Cadman saying, I was an industrial firefighter. Oil tank. Oh, dang. Chucking his phone around. Oil tank levies are scary. I can imagine. Jeez. You guys, Guitar saying we had a lot of potatoes growing. Hubie's Garage is saying, Silverado and Santiago Canyon burns a lot. I lived in Silverado for 4 years. I avoided the fires, but almost got wiped out in a flood there. It's kind of a funky place, Hubie. I like it out there because it's almost one of the last, I feel like one of the last places out here they that still looks like semi-indigenous. It looks like the county should look. They didn't landscape it. Mopar Man saying most people nowadays don't need iodine in the salt unless you're from a third world country. That's why you see people with goiter on their necks. What do you mean, Mopar Man? Like something cystic or like double chinny like me? Buff Del Campo saying that looked like an earthquake. No, no earthquake, man. Just me being clumsy. Unfinished project saying Blevy. Boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion. Jeez. Chris Greenaway saying, I hate hot dogs on a bun. Tastes better on a raft. Chris, that's just wrong. No, I'm just kidding. They're good on anything. Mopar Man saying, grouse fly, by the way. Animals move away from control burns and the natural growth comes back. Mom saying, Ari never had food like that or hamburger helper. Oh my God, no. Don't even get me started. Chris Cadman saying, I can't grow potatoes. My dog digs them up and eats them. That's rad. Annie Boyd saying, hamburger helper does do just fine by itself. Yeah, we didn't eat a lot of food like that. Mom would make, rather than buy something prepared like that, and add a pound of ground beef, she'd just spend all the money on like a larger cut of meat and make like one of the Persian stews or something like that. And we had a lot of good food. I, of course, as a kid was just like, give me a cheeseburger. You know what I mean? I don't want this. Still kind of the same way as a grown man. Give me a cheeseburger. Stoic Steel saying my grandma used to make the best shit on a shingle. Stoic Steel, I some good shit on a shingle really is hard to beat, man. I just went over to my buddy's house and his dad was cooking, and he's an incredible cook too. But he makes these camp beans, and those things are so perfect. It's like a tomato base. There's a lot of meat in there, a few different beans. Hubie's Garage is saying my boss got burned real bad in a Blevy in the 70s. It was a 25-gallon propane tank. His firefighter died. My boss was a real-life Fire Marshal Bill. Buff Del Campo saying SOS is Air Force breakfast. Oh, poor man saying, all right, goiter is that big softball or bigger lump on their necks. That sounds pretty horrible. Unfinished project is saying my grandfather had a cat that would eat tomatoes right off the vine. He noticed defiled tomatoes and was pissed. When he saw it was the cat, he didn't mind. Yeah, it'd be kind of hard to be mad at the cat. It's like, what? Like, why are you eating that? That's pretty rad. That's funny. Olive saying, I can make that pretty decent in a pinch. Some burger or sausage, cream of mushroom soup, and a bit of seasoning. I don't think I've ever made it. One of my friends' moms used to make it. I had it for breakfast a lot. And that, because of that. But Annie Boyd saying, my friend in first grade called the school lunch pizza shit on a shingle. And I went home and told my parents. My dad taught me about chipped beef on toast. Stoic still saying cats like tomatoes. I've learned something new today. Chris Cadman saying cats just don't give a shit what anyone thinks. That's for certain. Kim fixes things in the chat saying, I've been listening from the other room. Just want to say hello and leave a like. Thanks, Kim. Appreciate you guys stopping in. I'm stoked that the slant six went together and it was just some corrosion. Buff Del Campo saying, anyone want a cat? Buff, I'll trade you my cat. Chris Greenaway saying, I hate SOS. My mom love it. I'd rather use the hamburger for goulash. What is it? Since you're up there in Big Cuba, you gotta get the borscht. Danny Boyd saying, I've eaten Campbell's cream of mushroom soup straight out of the can too. Damn, that's pretty brazen, man. Craig Chitto saying in the chat, howdy Craig, welcome. Saying, all right, did you take Cortez with you? No, I haven't seen him for a while. There's like a little trailer park type community over here that I think he was kind of wandering out of. And I think they finally like reinforced his cage or whatever. So I don't see Cortez anymore. Unless somebody took him and made a caldo de pollo, it could have happened. Hubie's Garage is saying, I made beef stroganoff from a packet the other night. Yuck. I will be making it from scratch next time. Oh, that sucks, Hubie. Kim Fixes things is saying the engine is in, torque converter is aligned and bolted, rebuilt the starter, it's all coming together. Yeah, hopefully I'm definitely need to get to work on my Dart. I know I'm always saying it, but it's time. It's pissing me off staring at all those brand new parts and everything else and not doing something with them. Unfinished Project is saying chipped beef is insanely expensive now, isn't it, brother? What is it? The Hereford, the canned tinsel beef, chipped beef. It's not cheap at all. It's like it used to be a couple bucks a can. Now it's like $6-7 a can. The can's a pound of meat, so it's like, well, hell, I could get ribeye for the same price as this tinsel beef. Buff Del Campo saying, I want to give this cat away before the No Name Nationals. This cat is a volunteer, just showed up one day. I've been feeding her for a few months. Buff, just work it into the small print. Give somebody some car parts or a car or something, and be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, but if you read here, you actually have to take this cat. Stoic Steel's saying, I live next to a beef locker plant, so I can get you about 20 stray cats if anyone is interested. Dan's saying, my friend had a cat who eats apricots. Jeez. Mom's saying, good borscht is delicious. Don't lie, Ma. Don't just make things up. Come on. Like, you could probably taste the oppression in every bite. Dave Lewis is saying, they just busted a cockfighting ring here. You can adopt a rooster now at the APL. That's pretty cool. I liked that. Azul Cortez, I thought he was rad. Some bright blue rooster walking around a parking lot. That's not something you see every day. Unfinished Project is saying, yes, dart time. Yeah, I gotta get a new front drum now. I gave at Zero the drum off my Dart because he was rolling around on a cracked drum because he's a brazen dude. Craig Chitto saying, chop up bacon and cook ground beef, save the grease and mix it with your flour. Put the meat and bacon back with the beef. Oh, you're saying use the fat from both the beef and the bacon to make kind of like a roux. Is that what you're saying? Buff Del Campo saying, borscht, are you Russian? No, Buff, I was making fun of the Canadians being Russian. Danny Boyd saying like liver is a crime against onions. Bacon maple syrup popcorn, Mopar Man saying, pop your popcorn in the leftover bacon grease, then remove it, put it in a bowl. Put maple syrup over it. That's pretty cool. Mom's saying I love beets. Yeah, beets are good, but borscht ain't. Chris Greenaway is saying, isn't it funny how SOS, poor man's pudding, bread pudding, goulash was all Depression era meals. Now people can't even afford to make that. Yeah, it's weird. All the cheap stuff got expensive. I don't understand. Buff Del Campo is saying, my former wife was Russian. We had a lot of borscht. It was good. Was it, Buff? It didn't taste like oppression. Unfinished project saying pickled beets are like crack to me. How about the pickled eggs with the beets in there? They turn all purple and everything. All I'm saying because corn syrup is cheap calories and weight. Danny Boyd saying corn pone and hardtack. Unfinished project saying lobster used to be poor food also. Kind of, I guess it's one of those regional things, unfinished. It's like people get their license and they'll go free dive or trap lobsters out here. And, it's not incredibly expensive if you do it that way. Or down, in Baja and stuff, the guys will free dive for the little spiny lobsters. And those things are delicious, those little spiny ones. Olive saying has been again recently in Maine. I want to see Maine. I don't have a desire to see a lot of places. I want to see Maine. Danny Boyd is saying LBJ was referred to as Uncle Cornpone by the Kennedys. Yes. Liz 42S is saying Billy or Tim. Billy or Tim. I don't know, William or Timothy. They're probably both very nice young men. I don't want to choose. That's Zero saying I've had lobster from the so-called best up and down the coast. It's whatever. Like I said, those little ones down in Baja, there's something perfect about it. Unfinished projects. And anybody bought a bushel of crabs lately? Crazy expensive here. Crazy expensive. Expensive everywhere. Chris Cadman saying I caught crabs once. Nice, Chris. That's pretty horrible, man. I'm sorry. Unfinished. You do a lot of seafood boils, don't you? I noticed. I remember one video where you did that. Well, you're always cooking, man. You got the Blackstone and everything too. All I'm saying, lobster's not the same if it's not off the boat in New England. Down here, it's just ruining the memory of whatever you do. That sucks because that sucks, Olive. You can't really get the same New England. But I'm telling you, the little spiny ones down here, they're pretty delicious. It's a contrast. The big Maine lobster is obviously, very desirable, but Liz 42S saying Billy or Tim choose. Guys, are we choosing Billy or Tim? Buff Del Campo is saying when I lived in Maryland, crabs were a big deal. It was a weekend celebration. Yeah, that's another reason I would really like to go to the Pacific Northwest. You know what I mean? I could go trap Dungeness. Andy Boyd saying lobster is like a giant insect. Basically. Buff Del Campo saying choose Marianne or Ginger. Oh, man. Over here crackling. I should not be this rigid at this age. Dave Lewis is saying Colin Dussault's good booty and barbecue. Dave Lewis is just getting a rack of ribs and staring at some booty. Hubie's Garage is saying, we just spent $250 at Captain Jack's for crab legs, clams, mussels, and prime rib. That was without the alcohol bill. Not cheap. Yeah, Hubie was saying that. And then they kind of fudged on the prime rib. They had kind of a lazy seasoning on it, like they'd used some Old Bay or something, he said. And and they had burnt the au jus, which kind of bummed me out. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there like, damn, like I could have made you some decent prime rib, man. But I owe you a steak, Hubie. One of these, once I'm not so destitute, I'll come over there, I'll cook you something, man. Dave Lewis is saying a blues band. Oh, nice, Dave. That's rad. Good booty and barbecue. That's a rad name for a blues band. Dave, my buddies and I had a mean phase. We still listen to a lot of it, but like Howlin' Wolf, Little Walter, Sonny Boy Williamson and stuff. We had some good records and mean old blues phase. John Lee Hooker, of course. Hubie's Garage is saying it was weak. Normally they have good food. Yeah, that's a bummer. You try to get out there and it's like, first responder Garage is in the chat. He says, out here working in the shop. He's a busy man. Howdy, Damien. How are you, man? How's the shop treating you? Olive's saying, though, seriously, if anyone sees any, the Old Bay goldfish crackers are on point. Don't get me wrong. I love my Old Bay. But, you know what I mean? If you're going to season a prime rib, come on, man. Come on, man. Hey, Justin Hill's in the chat. Howdy, Justin. Chris Cabin saying, Ari, have you ever cooked blackened salmon? No, Chris, I'm not huge on the salmon. I've cooked blackened thresher shark and a couple other like whitefish, like that. We caught a pretty big thresher shark. It's kind of smaller technically, like 100-something pound thresher shark when I was a teenager, and we had too much meat, so I cooked blackened fish for a couple of weeks. Chris Cabin saying, oh, hell, Ari, now I got to plug in the Gretsch Tri-5. Do it, man. Poor man saying, on a quiet night, if you hold a can of Old Bay seasoning up to your ear, you can hear gunshots. Stoic Steel saying, I'm just not living my best life without a Blackstone. I want one, Stoic. Those things are so dang cool. I already have I already got the Weber. Well, actually, I gave away the Traeger. I gave that to Brian M. So all I got's the Weber. Maybe I do got room for a Blackstone in my life now. Olive saying, of course I have my spice rack. I need to hit a Penzies. Justin Hill is asking where I'm from. I'm from Southern California, brother. Just Orange County, damn near Mexico. Danny Boyd saying swordfish. Swordfish is delicious, Dan. The way I describe the thresher shark is if swordfish is more like a ribeye, and then the thresher shark was almost like a good sirloin. Hubie's Garage is saying thresher shark is just like a good steak, great eats. Yeah, exactly. See, stole the words from me. Hosers? That's funny. What am I got here? Bit of wind here now. Yeah, as you guys can see, this hurricane is actually taking the roof off of the building. Everything's flooded. Basically, I'm probably going to have to get out there in a boat, you know. All I'm saying, we have occasionally gotten hold of decent swordfish steaks here. It's one of those things, I never go out of my way to buy these things. If I was fishing again, I would go out of my way to try to catch them, but I don't know. There's only so much I can do there. Mom's saying prime rib needs big salt, rosemary, pepper. Yes. I mean, you could probably even get away with just doing the salt and pepper and then hitting it with a compound butter, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Hubie's Garage is saying, food nerd exactly. The seasoning tasted like it was from a stale Lowry's packet. Chris Cadman saying, drones everywhere. Not in this rain, thankfully. Bastards. Unfinished project is saying, my Blackstone completes me. I can't imagine life without it. Wanted one for so many years and finally shipped. They finally shipped manufacturing to China and made it affordable at Walmart. Hey, as long as it works, man. Didn't you get that one as a Father's Day present? Danny Boyd saying, have you ever caught a swordfish? No, I wish. It's on the bucket list. Buff Del Campo saying, boat, will your truck float? I'm going to have to make it amphibious, Buff. I need your help, man. Need some of that engineering skill. Mopar Man is saying, several years back, our local grocery store in the meat department had fresh great white shark steaks. I bought 4 of them and pan-fried it. Tastes like fish pork chops. Yeah, it's rich. You know what I mean? People say shark tastes this or that. It's not good. It's tough or something. It ain't. It's delicious. Unfinished saying, yes, Father's Day gift. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Olive saying, sometimes I think it's bycatch that can end up in markets, though. Hey, I mean, at least it's not getting wasted, right? Danny Boyd saying, I burned charcoal in an old propane-fired hibachi I pulled out of the trash almost 30 years ago. Hey, as long as it works. Ryan Orzetti's in the chat, welcome. Saying, Bruce Steaks. Oh, like Bruce from Finding Nemo? I guess that was the name of the fake shark for Jaws too, huh? Not just the Disney movie. Leave it to me to give you a millennial answer. At Zero saying, like women, do you? Show her by owning a Blackstone. Believe in God and country? Prove it by owning a Blackstone. If you don't agree with these things, Chevy Volt. The car that says, I got this award for participation and I'm proud of that fact. Chevy Volt. Unfinished projects saying frozen fish sticks have a good bit of shark in them. I got a soft spot for the fish sticks. I can't. Chris Cadman saying whistling diesel can help your truck float. He does some funny stuff, but that channel's a little hard for me to watch. Mopar Man's wondering what a black bacon sandwich is. Bill and Doug mentioned it in the movie. I have no idea. UB's Garage is saying, we know it, Ari. We have kids and have seen the movie. Ryan Orzetti saying, nah, bro, your knowledge of both is on point. No labels. Well, I feel kind of bad now that I'm eating Bruce, though. Oh, man. All I'm saying, if I'm not mixing it up, Mopar Man, what they call black bacon is what we call bacon. Oh, there we go. Stoic Steel saying, I'm missing out on fresh seafood, but I can get fresh prime beef at the grocery store. Yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty good trade-off, Stoic. A blend is nice, contrast is nice, but if I had to choose between the two, I think beef wins every time. Danny Boyd saying Whistling Diesel makes like 10 videos a year. Chris Cadman is out. Or Ryan Orzetti saying it sounds good unless it's burnt bacon. Yeah, we don't want burnt bacon. Chris Cadman saying I saw Jaws at the theater when it came out. I was afraid to swim for a while and I lived beside Lake Huron. Yeah, no, I think that movie like ruined night swimming for everybody. Buff Del Campo saying, Ari, are you all healed up from the drone attack? Physically, yes, Buff. I think I healed up okay. I got that's just from my glasses, but I got this scar here. The tip of my nose is a little missing right here. And I got this good scar there. And I'm sorry to get the camera this close to my face, guys. I know it's bad, but yeah, Buff, I healed up okay. This one was real deep, and this nostril cut, it was kind of mean looking, and it bled a lot. I also got one over the eye here, right there, and then there's one on my forehead right there. But I healed up okay. Unfinished project is saying good night, y'all. Feeling ugly. He's got to get his beauty sleep. Unfinished. Thanks so much for stopping in, man. I'm glad the baler works well, and I hope you have a great week, brother. Check your fluids. Gene saying he's emotionally scarred. Yeah, I kind of joke about it, but I genuinely am a little weird about propellers now. I've had that truck for 10 years with an unshrouded fan. I never thought twice about it. I just keep my hands clear of it, right? But now it's like an ominous thing to me. It's a little weird. Stoic Steel saying destroying nice vehicles just to make YouTube video isn't for me. Yeah, no, not really. I mean, even when he's destroying just crappy old trucks, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, man, someone can use that to make some money or something, but I don't know. I got a different view of things. Opar Man saying we have an awesome food truck that shows up once a month called On the Hook Fish and Chips. Big planks of beer battered North Atlantic codfish and real steak fries. That sounds good. Buff Del Campo saying bad piloting. Yeah. I don't know how that one really went about. Again, you know what I mean? I like the things. It's definitely cool, especially when you get good drone footage or they're following a race car or something. I think they're cool. But I definitely don't want to be around them if idiots are piloting. Chris Cadman saying, gives you the rugged look. Chicks dig it. I think the glasses soften me up too much, man. Kind of an intentional thing, because if I got the glasses on, I look like I'm concentrating, but if I take them off, I just look like I'm brooding. See, like concentrating, pissed off. Concentrating, pissed off. Cheryl Alastra is in the chat saying, hey, Ari, Lapagan, Dikitan. Welcome, Cheryl. I was only in your live stream for a second, but I made sure to pop in and drop a like. You guys are great. You and Leo are awesome. I need to learn to speak more Tagalog. Olive saying, hamming up is okay. Also, I like Shroud fans because of kitties, etc. Yeah. I'm actually going to buy a fan shroud from the gentleman that I sold my 235 to. He has one because he had a 61 truck that he's done a lot of work to, and he had it left over. So Ryan Orzetti's saying, no way, my guy, the glasses sell it more. Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, no, I mean, I like the drones. It'd be cool to get some drone footage of the truck. But the noise freaks me out. Like I was really only half joking, you know. I was over at Hubie's working on the truck, and his neighbor's got that electric weed eater, and I'm like, kind of, looking over their shoulder. All of saying the glasses equal more drone protection. They pretty much saved my eye. I'd be all Dick Curless, you know what I mean, if I didn't have the glasses. Ryan Orzetti's saying we own a bait business. We deliver in a Sprinter van, Dodge Mercedes. It's a friggin' nightmare to work on. Oh yeah, those things are funky. I mean, a lot of that Mercedes stuff is. My pops has always got cars like that. He's got a BMW or a Mercedes or something. He likes older luxury cars, so there tend to be everything's shrouded. Things a lot of disassembly to get to much of anything. I feel your pain. Hey, Leo Journey's in the chat saying hello, host. Shout out to everyone here. Thanks for stopping in, Leo. Oh yeah, Mopar man, the malt vinegar's nice, man. At Zero and I get fish and chips at a place in Westminster, California, and that place is really good. It used to be an H Salt fish and chips, but now it's Alaskan fish and chips, and they got some delicious food. Stoic still saying, yeah, those Sprinter vans are a true nightmare. Stoic, it's the same thing, right? Everything's like shrouded, and you got to take apart half of everything to get to anything. Huey's Garage is saying, Ari, I keep my drone in the trailer that was about 10 feet away from where you were working on the Apache. Yeah, yeah, it was there. I knew it was there, lurking. No, for some reason, I don't think you'd fly it into my face. Ryan Orzetti saying Dodge blames Mercedes, and Mercedes says it's a Dodge issue because F responsibility, right? That must be annoying when you're trying to figure things out. At Zero saying, yeah, brother, I miss having F and C. We got to go, man. One of these days, especially if I'm going to be working nights, you know what I mean? I can pop by and grab some grub with you at least. Olive saying malt vinegar is proper, though I do make my own special suspicious fishes sauce. It's like tartar sauce, but better. I'm curious. That sounds cool. Suspicious fishes sauce. Mopar man saying, at least you don't look like Bubbles on Trailer Park Boys. Guy's hilarious. I'm kind of like, I'm more Ricky, but I got the glasses, so I could be Bubbles. Yeah, Hubie, that's the fish and chips on Westminster and Springdale, across from the Ham and Scram. It's like I said, it used to be the H Salt, but it's Alaskan fish and chips now. It's really good. It's proper. Any boy saying from Gordon, them Gordon's breaded. Oh yeah, that's right. The dude with the slicker on there, the fisherman dude. I used to eat those, Dan. Olive saying no relish, chipotle, paprika, pepper, apple cider vinegar, mayo. That sounds good. It probably gets all smoky with. Yeah, I like it. I'll try it. Ryan Orzetti's saying, I know I'm gonna get knocked out for this, but Chick-fil-A sauce on fish isn't half bad. Ryan, it's so long since I had Chick-fil-A. I don't even remember what the sauce is like. There's one out here, but I rarely go. I never got the taste for it. I ate it a little bit when I was in the South, but not much. Everbless is in the chat saying hello. Welcome, Everbless. Chris Cabin saying 8 fish and chips today, plus a fish talk. Nice. Danny Boyd saying I love Chick-fil-A. I mean, it's all right. It was all right. It wasn't anything. I don't know. I was in Arkansas. You know what I mean? And it's like if I wanted good fried food, you know what I mean? It was in every direction. So I was like, why go to Chick-fil-A and get fast food when I can get good fried chicken everywhere? Ryan Orzetti saying it's kind of smoky. I'll have to try it, man. You can't knock it till you try it, right? That's what my son always says. Zero saying. Hubie saying, man, I didn't know Ham and Scram was there too. Yeah, I got to bring you a burrito from Ham and Scram, Hubie. Popeyes, Chris Cabins. Yeah, I like Popeyes. In a pinch. Buff Del Campo. Yes, I was in Arkansas for a little bit. It's about 11 years ago now. I went to visit my mom. That's where she lives. The food nerd in the chat here. She lives in Arkansas. Go visit her, Buff. Give her hell for me. But yeah, Arkansas. I love that place. Sand Mountain Ballistics is in the chat. Howdy, Hunter. Ryan Orzetti's saying, I wouldn't go out of my way to get it, but for fast food chicken, it's probably the best. Yeah, it was a good sandwich. Excuse me. It was a good sandwich, you know what I mean? It was good fried chicken. The pickles were good and everything, but I don't know. I was just, my mom worked at a country club at the time, and she would bring home these homemade chicken strips, and then there was a fish fry place where you could get really good catfish, and I don't know. It seemed like kind of a waste getting fast food. Stoic Steel's saying, I imitate Bubbles when I'm working sometimes. Good way to vent some frustration when you cuss out a vehicle as Bubbles. That's a good idea. It's a damn good idea. Hubie's Garage is saying, Zero, I need to get over there. We never went there on the fire engine. All the stations know the good food in their areas. Yeah, Hubie. There's one in Long Beach too now. I think it's off of like 7th and, what is that? How do you know how to say that street? Like, it's Zimino? Zimino? I don't even know how to say that. But it's a street there. But they have some good stuff. Ham and scram, it's all ham-based. So they got these breakfast burritos with chunks of ham in them. They've got a great ham and cheese, obviously. And they do all of these ham-based soups. A pea soup. They do a ham chili. They do a ham chowder. And they're all really, really good. I don't say that lightly. I really don't. I hate most everything. But their food's really good. And the name's great. Ham and scram. Come on. Sand Mountain Ballistics in it. Has anyone heard from Baron lately? Forgot about Baron, man. Buff Del Campo saying the best Cuban sandwich I ever had was at a bait shop in Arkansas. I believe it, man. There's so much good stuff hiding out there. I remember I could get all the good soul food, and in the middle of town there was a good Mexican market called Los Arcos, and they had really good tacos. And being that far from here and getting good tacos, that felt great. You know what I mean? Olive saying I forgot the dill. So you're saying it's just the mayonnaise, paprika, chipotle, malt vinegar, dill. Hubie's Garage is saying Zimino. You said it right. I said it 3 ways, so I got to figure I get it right one of the times. Any poet saying Piggly Wiggly? Brian M saying it sounds like my kind of place. Brian, it's down the street from you, brother. You got to try it. Just down Westminster, man. Brian saying I should take my brother-in-law there. All of saying Baron is apparently having too wild a time. Sand Mountain saying Baron was a crazy dude, but I liked him. I hope he's doing well. It was a strange cat. He's definitely a strange cat. Yeah. Ad Zero saying Baron is an actual creep. To be polite, but not polite. F that dude. Yeah, that's a good way of saying Baron was a kind of a strange cat. Chris Cadman is saying Grandma had a rabbit hutch. Then one day it was empty. Grandma said, where did the bunnies go? Don't worry, eat your stew. Rabbit's good. You'd be saying the best Cubano is at Porto's. Oh, apple cider vinegar, not malt. Sorry, Olive. I can do that. Brian, I got to get you that Traeger bucket, man. It's sitting in the back of my truck, and I'm sitting there like I'm a crappy friend. I didn't even give him the bucket. The Traeger's just spilling grease everywhere. Buff Del Campo saying the bait shop surprised me. He had a grill. The cook had a Glock on his belt. I guess he doesn't have any holdups there. It's like doesn't want anybody sneaking up on him while he's cooking. Ryan Orzetti saying, no good Cubans here and our delis suck. It's sad when Arby's is the best option for a Reuben. Where are you located, Ryan? You don't have to say if you're not comfortable. Some people don't like that stuff. Nate Mayfield's in the chat saying, hey, Ari, just wanted to pop in and say congrats on getting the Apache up and running. I was thrilled to see that. Thanks so much, Nate. It was definitely rewarding. I feel like everybody helped a bunch. Hubie really saved my ass. He helped me a lot. And, I was just happy to get it done and see it roll, after such, I've done a lot of work to the truck, obviously, but I've never done an engine swap. So seeing it work after changing almost everything, was pretty cool. But thank you, Nate. I'm really happy about it myself. Brian M. saying, I use the Traeger on the lawn. See, look, I'm making you resort to drastic measures. Dan, you remember Barron? He'd pop in and be like, Tony, like spam, like he would get like all these random thoughts, like kind of like probably on cocaine if he's talking that fast. But Ryan Orzetti's from Niagara Falls, New York. Well, that's cool, Ryan. I've never been that far east, but I've seen a lot of pictures of Niagara. Mopar Man's talking about we have a really cool couple that is originally from Tony's neck of the woods in New York. They run East Coast subs. His wife makes the meatballs for Meatball Marinara subs and bread daily. Nice. Yeah, Olive, that's not inaccurate. Sand Mountain Ballistics saying, Ad Zero only went to a few of his lives, but they're good. Maybe something was up with him. I don't believe everything I hear. Always give someone the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, Hunter. I mean, like I said, he did some kind of weird stuff. He kind of said some weird things there. He's a strange cat, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot for me to kind of write someone off. I'm right with you, man. I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but Nate Mayfield saying I would have been happy to lend a hand, but I'm quite a ways from you. I was sending good vibes. Yeah, definitely. A lot of people helped with great advice, a lot of kind, encouraging words, positivity. You know what I mean? And that to me is indispensable. The fact that everybody had such a good outlook and was just ready to see the truck back on the road. That means a lot because it means a lot to me. I love my truck. I don't like seeing it like that. It's not supposed to be sitting around. I'm definitely not one of those people who likes building things more than driving them. Buff, it drives really nice with the V8. It feels like a whole different truck, especially with that SM420. That is such a cool transmission. I got a weird kind of flat spot. That's a new one. Flat spot with the Quadrajet that I need to tune or alter, do something about it. And that's kind of bugging me. But besides that, she's just golden, man. Mopar Man saying, stay strapped, even cooking on the streets. Ryan Orzetti saying, are you close to where Hurricane Hillary is brewing? Yeah, there's not much going on, Ryan. It's a little, I think they blew it out of proportion on the news. But I'm right here. I'm in Southern California, Orange County. I'm only a couple miles from the coast, so you'd figure I'd be washed away right now if it was the way they said it was going to be. Brian M. saying, go figure. The one weekend I could use my neighbor's pool, it rains. That sucks, man. Stoic Steel saying, never been east of Indiana or west of Black Hawk, Colorado. Stoic Steel, you're not missing much out here, man. No, I'm kidding. It's pretty cool. It's worth a gander. The palm trees are really pretty. Go up and down the coast, see some cool stuff, but it's expensive, crowded. Mom's saying that a Reuben is good on marbled rye with the usual Thousand Island, Swiss, and a nice stack of thinly sliced corned beef. Hunter, don't be neutral, man. You don't want to be Switzerland. Ryan Orzetti's saying, my last name unfortunately rhymes with spaghetti. I take my pastas seriously. As you should, man. Hubie's Garage is saying, have you kicked in the secondaries yet? I have, Hubie. They seem to work okay. I get a little bit of bog at first, but I feel like that's kind of, I don't know. They do open up though, and it's weird seeing the truck actually accelerate, especially, because with the 6 cylinder, it wasn't that bad. I had that thing running pretty healthy for what it was, but once it got around 60 miles an hour, what I mean? You hit the gas and it's like, okay, I'm going to do something. With the V8, it's like, go, you know? I'm saying someone's scarier than the skinny old cow. Brian M saying, I agree with Brother Ari about the storm being overblown. Yeah, they really blew it out of proportion, you know what I mean? And it's good to have caution, especially out here, because stuff does flood sometimes. People drive like crap. It is dangerous when there's weather, but it's not, it's if you're worried about a flood, that's different than just worried about basic weather conditions. Chris Cadman saying rock crusher transmission. No, it's an SM420. Yeah, Hunter, I got my exhaust hooked up. I had to go to the shop to do that. Obviously, I don't really have a bender or a welder or nothing, so I had to go to the shop, and it's a place called Pro Muffler and Brakes in Midway City. And the guy did a good job. He hooked up my Y pipe for me, and it sounds really smooth. It's maybe a little too smooth. I was a little bummed, you know what I mean? I wish I could have kind of waited it out because Caesar T-Rex offered me a set of headers. So if I got those headers, I probably could have paid, a fraction more. Well, probably about 50% more, and just gotten some duals ran. So, but down the line, I definitely want to do that. Cheryl Lastra is saying, just here listening and sending support. Thanks, Cheryl. I appreciate you. Buffdale Campo is saying, I think the 1960 Chevy truck is one of the best looking. I really like the hood with the pods around the turn signals. That's one of my favorite parts, Buff. That hood's so funky, and it's, to me, obviously it is a pickup truck, but the way it's shaped and the fleet side and the length of it, it's reminiscent to me of that like land yacht era of finned cars, But I'm glad you like it, man. She's my favorite. Chris Cadman saying Silver Lake Dunes in Michigan is a lot of fun. Yeah, the exhaust, between the exhaust and the drive shaft, that cost me almost half of the whole budget or what I've spent on the V8 swap. So I mean that was pretty, that was significant, but again, you know what I mean? It's really not much to keep the old truck back on the road and, facilitate the improvements and everything else. It's worth it. So, I've been cheap with her all these years. I haven't changed or fixed a thing. It's bound to cost me once in a while. Ryan, excuse me. Ryan Orzetti saying, I remember being down south, unfamiliar with tornadoes and such. I was like, why are people taping their windows and I can't find batteries, bread, or water anywhere? Now I know. I'm with you, Ryan. It's like when I was in Texas, I'm like, why is the sky purple? You know what I mean? Like, what's with this? All I'm saying, also, no one's going to shoot me when I'm cooking because they wouldn't get any food. UB's Garage is saying, like, cop car bog or fall on your face bog? More like a cop car bog. It's not anything crazy. Stoic Steel saying, isn't some bog on a quadrojet normal? Yeah, that's why they call them a quadra bog, I guess. But I need to tune it a little more. That's all it is. I need to get a better kit. I've got my reading material here, thanks to Dave Lewis. Dave, I really can't thank you enough for these books, man. I need them. But yeah, I just need to tune it. proper, and I'm sure I can get that thing running smooth. But there's a really nice Edelbrock for sale not too far from me, so I want to get that in case, I'm possibly too dumb to tune the Q-Jet. So you got to consider the possibilities. Sand Mountain Ballistic saying could be something simple, just like needs more timing or anything. Heck, maybe just a stiffer medium rod spring if it's had hesitation. Yeah, like I said, Hunter, it's nothing too crazy, but yeah, Hunter said it right. He says quadrajets are picky, but once they have to be perfect. But once they are perfect, you can't beat them. I do really like them, especially I used to drive my buddy's truck. It was a '64 GMC short bed and had a 327 in it with a Q-Jet, and you know what I mean. Dropping that thing into second and opening up the secondaries was pretty beautiful. It was a great thing. So I'd like to get it kind of tuned similar to that. Opar Man saying, I'm tearing down two thermo quads I got for 25 a piece at the swap meet. One is going on mile 318 and the other possibly on a 360 whenever I can build it. I want good miles per gallon, still have the power. Chris Cadden says, tornadoes suck. Yes. Danny Boyd saying, Chevy used that first gen Corvair theme on their whole lineup. Your truck, the C2 Vet, and Batwing Chevys. Yeah, I love those type of cars, man. Hunter, yeah, I got that job at the diesel shop, man. It's a decent gig, man. I'm pretty happy about that. Ryan Orzetti saying just did the timing chain on an older Ford truck. It was a process. Yeah, I could imagine, man. Probably real clean, right? Olive saying, here's me my first week in Wisconsin when they were testing the tornado sirens, buying beer, being dead by. There a nuke plant melting down here? Yeah, the air raid sirens are pretty. That's one of those pretty ominous sounds. Andy Boyd saying, hopefully not a Y block. Buff Del Campo saying, I had so many Y blocks. I've only worked on the one that was in that 55 T-Bird I worked on, but I like the Y block a lot. Hunter saying, the Quadrajet I built as a spare for my car would probably be perfect. It's off a 78 Chevy truck with a 350. I bet those specs would be about what you need. Yeah, Hunter, I mean, it probably the one that I have is off of a 72 K5 Blazer. But again, I just kind of went through it real fast. It was a dirty old carb, and I gave it a once over, like a real lazy once over. I was more worried about figuring out what goes where than actually, trying to tune the dang thing. So it's kind of self-explanatory. Ryan Rossetti saying, Buff, I'm not sure. I'm still a newbie mechanic learning the trade, but it was a 77 model, lime green, heavy and boxy. 77 would be either a 360 or a 400, I think. I don't know. They were just talking Ford stuff on Barrow's channel, and I'm like sitting there kind of wide-eyed, like everything's got like 1 inch of displacement different than the other, and is completely different. Ford engines are weird. And it's cool you're getting into it though, Ryan. I mean, it's cool that, just to start somewhere. So many people are daunted and they don't do anything, and you know what I mean? It just got to start somewhere. Give it a couple of weeks, man. You'd be better than me, that's for sure. Olive saying, I hated the damn sirens. They messed with my nerves more than actual tornadoes. I would, of course, have gone out to sea. They used to do them I think, the last Thursday of the month here. I don't know if they still do that. Buff Del Campo saying, my Y blocks never had the crossover pipe. That's a funky thing, Buff. That's a weird one. Mopar Man saying, yep, just needs a fine tune. Edelbrock will suck more gas. The Eddies with electric choke are set from the factory to be more fuel efficient. Factory manual choke for performance. I'd like the idea of the manual choke. Danny Boyd saying it would have been a 302 small block or a 351 or 400, possibly a 460 big block. Ryan Orzetti saying, I think it was lime green, but the owner of the car was a heavy smoker. Just smelled like an ashtray or what, man? The only Buff Del Campo saying the only thing I don't like about the Y block is the lifters don't come out from the top. They come out from the bottom when after the cam is removed. That's right. They were talking about that. The top hat lifters, and you pull them out, pull out the cam, and they all flop down into the crankcase. Hopefully, Hunter saying I have two manual choke Edelbrock's on my on my car Mopar man, and after some tuning, I can't complain. That's right. You got that cross ram and everything. Chris Cabin saying, "Hey, leave Fords alone." They're great. That's just what I mean. You got to know what you're dealing with. You can't just dive in blind. Stoic Steel saying, in my town, the sirens go off at 7, 12, 1, and 6 o'clock. City folks freak out when they pass through. Mopar Man 1978 saying, all right, also, Q-Jets and thermoquads need lots of air. Use a bigger filter or a K&N 14x3 filter. I'm going with the K&N 14x3, but instead of a chrome lid, I'll just run the K&N air filter lid. Those are pretty nice. I have an older Moroso I threw on there. But I could probably drill some holes in it or something. Ryan Orzetti saying, I learned very quickly that a lot of Toyota and Honda models seem to be made for people who have very small hands. It's ridiculous. Yeah, that gets frustrating, man. Olive saying, I put a manual choke in my Duster because the choke puller costs more than I wanted to spend on the carb. Buff Del Campo saying, you hold the lifters in place with clothespins after the cam is removed. Nice. Yeah, I didn't think of that because, if they fall down, obviously you don't have them in order anymore. That's a real pain. Olive saying, cold season security system, though. When people could drive manuals, they wouldn't think to look for the hidden choke knob. Danny Boyd saying, Buff, can't you just roll the engine over if it's on a stand? Hunter saying, sorry, how does it feel being able to ride in a fast lane? Pretty weird, man. Pretty weird. Because I've gotten in that lane before because the other two merge. But it was a real FU thing, you know what I mean? I was like, get around me, you know what I mean? Now I can keep up with traffic. Oh, man. Ryan Orzetti saying, also, I'm not a fan of turbos. Only because the Sprinter van we use, the turbo constantly seems to be an issue. Yeah. And does it consume oil too? I know the bi-turbo that I drove consumed a lot of oil. Chris Sanders is in the chat. I'm finally here. I keep missing these. What's up, everyone? Just chilling, Chris. We're talking about food for a while. We're talking about Fords. We're talking about carburetors. Buff Del Campo saying Ari only goes 35 in the fast lane. No, never that bad, Buff. I was going probably 65 or 70, but out here, you know how it is. People drive fast, man. Poor man saying my 318 currently has a 600 CFM Eddy, but it's still looking to get better gas mileage on the 2-barrel, aka primaries. Yeah, Ryan, it consumes oil. Yeah, I've never had one go out to where I couldn't wind it up, but the oil thing, you know what I mean? It's like, and those, what is it, a 5 point? It's like a 4 point something or five. The small V8, the small Mercedes V8 it's like a 9-quart system. You know, so it's like that. It'll flash you the check oil level, and you realize you're like three and a half quarts low. That's kind of terrifying. I don't know. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. Stoic Steel saying turbos are awesome, but the diesel and the Sprinter vans are just hot garbage. Buff, yeah, the Speedo cable ain't hooked up. I hooked one up. I pulled a Speedo cable off of a parts car we had at work. It was a 60, I think a 60 Eldorado. And I just thought it was hilarious. I was like, no, it's OE. It's from 1960. So I pulled it off and I put it on the truck and it worked for, I think, a couple weeks and then it snapped. But no, the gauge just likes 25. That's where she's at. But no, I was going at least probably 70, 75, something like that. Sand Mountain Ballistics said it right. Buffy's always going 25 or 35, even when he's parked. Yeah, no, she likes 25. Chris Sanders saying, I painted half my Lincoln to look like the Bluesmobile. Only half? So if you're on the left side, it looks like a Bluesmobile. If you're on the right side, it looks like a Lincoln still. Ryan Orzetti's saying, plus my uncle tries all kinds of stupid bull crap to get the engine to start. He sprayed the friggin' thing with deodorant one time. It's like, whatever, you know what I mean? I ain't got brake fluid, I ain't got starting fluid. I better just hit it with the deodorant. All of it, it's just snapped. Puff saying the deodorant makes the exhaust smell better. Chris Cadman saying, have you ever seen a Jaguar V12 just run as far as you can? Yeah, I wouldn't mess with it. I really do like those old XJs though. It's a pretty sweet looking car, like the one Tupac had. It's a pretty sweet car. No, I'm pretty sure it's just the 60-year-old Speedo cable. It worked well. It just, you know, it was on borrowed time. Chris Sanderson also got a black fedora. No suit and tie yet, though. Nice. You can get yourself a cheap suit, man. The Iranian in me loves a cheap suit. Well, no, Olive. I mean, like when I put the new transmission and I pulled the Speedo cable and it was just snapped. Like the center portion was just because it's not connected right now. If it was connected and didn't work, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it's not connected. 153624. You know, if, the 15's too young, 36 too old, 24 is just right, I guess. Yeah, 153624, 18436572. That's all I remembered because I didn't want to memorize Ford. I don't want to store useless information up here. Hubie's Garage is saying we had a Jag XJ12 donated to our high school auto shop when I was there. It was a while ago. Olive saying I'm kind of old enough. I call anything from this century new, I guess. I hear. Yeah. No, it's just. I hear what you're saying, Olive. If it's connected and it's not connected, it's stripped out or the gear inside the trans. Which I always kept too. If we ever scrapped transmissions or changed anything to those Dakota Digitals or whatever, I always kept the old gears. I actually just gave one to the gentleman who bought my 235 from me. I had one for a Power Glide, and his 52 Chevy has a Power Glide in it, so I gave it to him. Little stuff like that. It's hard to let go of stuff like that. I even saved pipe plugs. I'm an ass of a man. Buff Del Campo saying there was a guy near me in California that fixed those Jaguars with small block Chevys. I built GM crossflow radiators for him with high density cores. They were fun cars. See, that sounds great, Buff. You know, you're running a real practical platform and kind of a really cool looking car like that. That sounds cool to me. Because I know a lot of those British cars are finicky. All I'm saying, those gears are hard to find sometimes. A righteous thing to give people. Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I probably could just sell or sit on or try to sell, but I'd rather just save it until somebody I know needs it or can use it potentially. I'd rather just give stuff away most of the time. And I feel like it gets paid back. The universe takes care of me somehow. Look, I didn't even blow away in the storm outside. Excuse me. Hunter's calling it a night. Says, take care, everyone. Have a good night, Hunter. Be safe, brother. Check your fluid. Says, oh, Ari, I want to hear your truck's exhaust note. Definitely, man. I'll do a video. I need to tighten up the driver's side flange. I don't know if you saw in my last couple shorts, I started to develop an exhaust leak, but I just need to tighten up the driver's side flange, and I'm golden, man. But you have a good week, man. Check the fluids. Keep your powder dry, man. I guess I should keep my powder dry if it's raining like this. Oh. Chris Sanders is saying, how's the storm? Let's see. Let us see. Let us see. Let's venture out into the big world. It's probably really dark out here, guys. I'm sorry about that. It's stormy. Stormy weather. I just can't seem to get my truck together. Come on, turn around, camera. Just pretty normal. I mean, a lot of leaves. These sycamores probably lost a few branches. I moved the truck down yonder. I wanted it farther from the trees, but I'll probably move it back because I don't like her being that far from me. But yeah, not too bad out here. I mean, it's definitely ain't a hurricane. Thankfully, you know what I mean? This place is not really equipped to handle stuff like that. I'll go back inside so you guys can see me. Just move, cat. Hubie's garage is saying no wind here, just sprinkles. Yeah, Hubie, it got a little windy for a second around 6 o'clock, and I thought it was going to get worse. So I moved the truck, and then it just kind of stayed the same and then died down. So I assume that'll be the worst of it because it's when they said it would be the worst of it. But you'd be saying the 350 Chevy Jag conversions were popular here. Breaking weather update, Stoic Steel says. Buff saying, I think he installed a Turbo Hydromatic 400 trans in him. Dave Lewis is saying, Jag used TH400 guts. The case was different. That's kind of weird. I had a bad experience with the Turbo 400. I still have trauma, so I'm not big on those transmissions. Chris Sanders is saying, I keep seeing YouTube videos how bad it's supposed to be. Chris, it's really, maybe, I heard it was pretty bad inland. Hubie sent me a couple pictures that, I think his friends were at the drag strips and it was blowing up some dust and some rain and everything, but Opar Man saying, Ari needs a true old school low budget rat rod with a Chevy inline 6. I keep wanting to hoard more engines, but, Hubie's trying to, very, very kindly tell me that I shouldn't. And he's right. He's right. I probably shouldn't hoard anymore. But I keep telling him that hoarding is life. And I need to have heavy, impractical things that I don't really have accommodations for. Buff Del Campo saying, Dave Lewis, I learn something new every day. I'm always learning something from Dave. Dave saying Jag rears used Dana 44 gears, or some use Dana 44 gears. That's weird, Dave. That's almost like it reminds me of something like AMC, almost like GMC or AMC. To where it's kind of like a blend of individual but not individual parts. That's kind of cool. Yeah, Chris Sanders is saying they're saying basically everyone is going to die and everything is gone. They showed some flooded streets down in Baja and stuff, but I think a lot of people don't realize that some of these even here where we do have a infrastructure and everything else, it's still prone to flooding in some areas, and down there it's not the same. So I don't know. Why is it saying message is held for review? Don't do that. There it goes. Cheryl, it's trying to censor you. Stoic Stale is out for the night. He's saying time to fade into the shadow realm for the night. Later, everyone. Thanks so much for stopping in, brother. Really appreciate you all the time, and hope you have a solid week and everything. Be safe out there, man. Check your fluids. Buffalo Compost saying, I have so much crap stored, I hate to toss it. As soon as I throw something away, I need it. Pretty much. Cousin Mike sending his heart to Cheryl. Mopar Man saying, hoarder equals repurposer. I mean, it kind of helped me out. It's like I broke my transmission because I'm an idiot, but because I'm a hoarder, I had three more. So, sometimes it evens out. Yeah, hoarding transmissions and engines and carburetors. I guess there's worse things. Some people will stack their up to their ceilings with, newspapers and recyclables and crap, so it's like I don't have to feel too bad. Chris Sanders saying, yes, if anyone needs some CV axles for an 04 Nissan Maxima, hit me up. Chris, you could probably make some money off of those. Wait for somebody's car around there to break down and install them, man. It's a couple bucks right there. Hubie's Garage is saying they downgraded from category 4 to 3, then to 1 hurricane. Finally just called it a tropical storm. I think they're just hyping it up to avoid reporting on the real news. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm just wondering what's going on. Like, what are we going to find out happened, come Tuesday? They're going to be like, oh, well, sorry there wasn't a hurricane, but aliens are real. Chris Sanders saying, laugh out loud, they were brand new. Customer bought the wrong ones. I got a huge pile of parts or stuff like that. Got to hold on to it, man. It's worth money, especially if you can't return it right off the bat, I'm pretty bad with that. O'Reilly they bend some rules for me, so I'm pretty bad about that. Yeah, funny stuff though. The weather, I don't know. I was worried, because I'm starting training for that new job tomorrow. You know what I mean? I want to be able to make it down there. I didn't want there to be any delays or anything. And I'm picturing it like the freeway is going to be a river and I'm screwed. You know what I mean? And it's not so. So that's good. I'd rather have it be hype, honestly, at that rate. but it's still annoying. You know what I mean? I'm not a big fan of the fear mongering and the what ifs. You know what I mean? People are always trying to manipulate you with the what ifs, and that drives me nuts. Security guards, working as a security guard, you see a lot of my coworkers were like that. You know what I mean? They would kind of manipulate people with a what if and not give them a real answer and stuff. And I was pretty straight with folks, and I feel like I got better results. Opar Man saying, I still like that meme I saw. It shows a pic of a transmission and a set of headers. The only time a guy should hang out with it. The tranny and I like it. It's like when the bottle of shampoo's turned and you only see poo. It's good. Buff Del Campo saying, parts I bought for a customer that changed their mind. That's how a Pontiac Iron Duke ended up in my 69 Dodge Dart. Jeez, that's pretty rad. You're like, I'm going to use this if you're not. Chris Cadman saying, I have some used vintage motor oil for free. When I drained the gear oil from that SM420, I really should have done a video because a lot of people don't know this, but in 1962, instead of just using the 90 weight mineral oil that was spec for the trucks, they actually used chocolate pudding because that's obvious. That's what I drained from the SM420 was some nice was chocolate pudding. Chris Cadman saying, I feel free. Chris Sanders is saying, I'm glad to see the old truck going again. That thing has to keep going forever. Exactly, man. Exactly. I got to really keep, I do my best just to keep the truck rolling, and I know it's far from perfect and there's a lot of work I could do, but, as long as the truck is usable, that's what matters to me. Hubie's Garage is saying, I was a big hoarder of car parts too until I had to move. Now, with a potential of out-of-state move, I ask myself, do I really want to drag this item 5 states away? Yes, Hubie, you do. I'll help. I'll drive a truck for you. Buff Del Campo saying, stock air cleaner said, keep your GM vehicle all GM. Buff sent me some pictures of was it a 67 or 68 Cougar, Buff? And he had swapped a small block into it. And this thing had this crazy cross ram intake. Beautiful, beautiful build. That one was a cool one. 67 Cougar, yeah. And I was telling him, because I looked it up, and I think the intake alone that he had on that car is worth like $6,500 nowadays, something like that. Olive saying, GM Owner's Manual says, don't fail to paint inside your oil filter. It could explode. Also, don't touch paint. It may explode. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to think how much of that stuff's worth. Like the chrome trim for the side of my truck, I think runs about $2,500 a side nowadays. Alva's in the chat. Howdy, Al. How are you, brother? Al called me yesterday to make sure that asked me how the truck went, make sure nothing was on fire. Chris Cadman saying, my dog farted again. Heidi, chill, man. Olive saying, you should see the manual to my 95S10. It has very little info on the truck. A novel-length set of disclaimers about how wax is hazardous. They're like, well, we don't want to tell you too much about the vehicle. We'll let you get it serviced at the dealership, but we definitely want to cover our ass for any kind of liability legally. Yeah, Ma, you might be moving to Montana soon, raising the upper crop of dental floss. Olive saying, also, congratulations on purchasing the four-wheel drive. Never use it. It's dangerous to do that. The same as the 325K slant that came out. The Iron Duke was 2K engine with a THM 200 trans. The car was a lot lighter. Yeah, the Slant 6 isn't really light. I think it's it's at least about 500 pounds, right? 530 pounds or so. Chris is saying, ain't been able to touch the Chevette this summer besides freeing up the motor. Been too busy. Hopefully I'll be able to soon. Envious Creations Car Club is in the chat. Howdy, brother. Welcome. My brother was up north was looking at one of the crew cab S10s. I think those are made in Mexico. Cousin Mike saying, yeah, the Slant 6 weighs more than 350. So yeah, it's at least 530 pounds or so. Cousin Mike can palm one though. I don't know if he can chuck a three-pointer with it, but he could probably do a layup with the Slant 6. I don't know if you guys have seen that video of Mike. He does it with a 232 AMC as well. He just picks it up. Shopcat's in the chat. Howdy, Shopcat. How are you, brother? Whew, excuse me. Cousin Mike saying 525 pounds on the Slant 6. Mike, like you just lifted up 500 pounds. Like what? Like Mike says he's from Idaho, but I think he's from Krypton. I don't even know how much the 232 weighs. Yeah, Hubie's saying 615 pounds on a 235. You know, Jeff, I feel like the truck sits a lot better with the V8. I feel like the fact that the engine's pushed so much further back and that the weight of the trans is behind the front axle like that, like I feel like the truck likes this setup a lot more. Shopcat saying Mike's not human, he's a beast. That's for sure. Alva is asking, you ever seen Clint Eastwood lift a straight six? You were telling me about that. I forget what movie it is. He picks up the inline six. Chris Sanders is asking, how is the 4-speed compared to the 3-speed? Do you like it more or less? Chris, I really, really love this new transmission. New. I guess it is technically newer. It's 62, not 60. But, obviously I don't really have much of a need for the granny gear, but, it's like having a synchro mesh 3-speed. I can actually downshift without grinding now. And I don't know. I really like it, man. The taller shifter's nice. It's a lot tighter. You know what I mean? Because I had an Indymatic, just a 3-speed kit on the old 3-speed, and it was like a soup pot. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'd gotten used to driving it after so long, but it's yeah, it's night and day, man. I really like it, and it's still classic. It's still period correct. It's got the good gear whine. Ugh. Cousin Mike saying a Vortec 350 is 438 pounds. Yeah, Hubie's Garage is saying that the movie where Clint Eastwood lifts up the six cylinder is Any Which Way But Loose. It's a 55 Chevy. I got to check that out. Buff Del Campo saying, after I installed the Iron Duke and the Dart, I cranked the torsion bars down and down and down to make the car level again. Yeah, it's nice having torsion bars. I need to mess with mine a little bit. Hubie's Garage. Hubie's, you own the movie? I'll have to watch it with you, brother. I'll come by. I'll make some of the bacon grease popcorn Mopar Man was talking about. Hubie's Garage is saying that 420 is heavy too. Yeah, it's like 130 something pounds. Plus, with all that chocolate pudding it had in it, that couldn't have lightened it up much. Chris Sanders is saying that's awesome, man. I was hoping it would turn out like that. Yeah, it's cool, man. Like I said, it just little stuff, little touches. The carburetor. Um, I want to bleed out the slave cylinder for the clutch again. I feel like it got a little bit of air in it. It's a tiny, tiny bit spongy. I could be tripping. Little stuff, and it's but the truck rolls, it moves, you know what I mean? That's beautiful. That's what it needs to do. Chris Cadman saying you get the stick shift rattle on the highway. Not much, Chris. I don't get it at least. I think I was expecting it to be like that kind of transmission. Like, is it about to pop out of gear? But no. Brian M saying your new shifter reminds me of the one in the movie Stroker Ace, the chase scene at the beginning. UB's Garage is telling Mom they're on season number 5 in Montana now. Fire season. Buff saying Danny Boyd, it went to a Mopar friend in a trade deal. He hated the swap, but he drove it for a long time. Hey, if it works, it works. You know what I mean? I would just be happy it wasn't a modern engine swap. As much as I understand, LS swaps and everything else, I feel like it's a little soulless. You pop the hood of something old and you see a bunch of black plastic. Two-door hardtop, nice. Mopar Man saying, imagine that the engine was stripped out of parts internally for that scene. Maybe. I mean, I can't. Clint Eastwood's not the biggest dude. People have different levels of strength. I know that, but I can't see him picking up a stove bolt. Maybe it was a prop, maybe it was like a foam engine or something. Mock-up engine. That would make more sense. Chris Sanders is saying Hellcat swapped Chevette would be insane. The best was that Hellcat swapped pipe stand I had at the shop. That thing was really cool. He was trying to say, "Ari, you got me. I don't own Stroker Ace, but I have six pack with Kenny Rogers." Dave Lewis is saying plastic engine. I had one. I've seen the plastic small blocks, Dave, but I've never seen. Maybe they would have had a plastic 6-cylinder. I don't know. I assume if they have one, they would make the other. Cousin Mike saying I picked up a lot of engines and transmissions. Yeah, Mike, you're a nutcase, man. Ryan M saying I regret not buying a '69 Dart 2-door in 2005. It was a slant 6. I almost bought a 2-door '69. I was gonna trade. The guy wanted, I think, a small amount of cash for it, and I was like a tiny bit short, and he thought I was trying to lowball him, but I was just broke, and I didn't end up buying it, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. It was a piece of crap, but I ended up getting my truck not too long after that. So Alva's saying Irish and Scots pick up stones, the Denny Stones. Buff Del Campo saying I did that swap in 1981 when the Iron Duke was out of a brand new wrecked car. So it was like, was it semi-sacrilegious for the era? Is that what you're... Because of Mike saying it's my retard strength? I'm with you, Mike. I do all right, but you know what I mean? There's certain things like it ain't happening. I'm not picking that up. I guess, I mean, I picked up the slant six to get on the engine stand. You know what I mean? I lifted it up a few inches just to get it into my storage unit, but that wasn't, that was more like leveraging it than lifting it. Hubie's Garage is saying that plastic small block Chevy mock-up block is about $600. Jeez, Hubie. Alva saying Iron Duke and a Dart is a cool swap. Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting, just to make it work. Chris Sanders saying I almost scored a 66 Corvair for $400, but someone got their minutes before me. I like Corvairs. I don't know a thing about them, but I like them. Mom says firemen go to heaven. Their kind of expertise is not needed in hell. Morbid, Mom. Morbid. Danny Boyd saying I lifted a Bear 1988 5.0 Ford block and put it in the back of my truck. The heaviest one I've moved was the 400 Ford. That thing I felt. I was like, okay, don't do that again. you know, but but yeah, there's some heavy ones out there. Buff Del Campo saying there was about 1.5 feet between the fan and the radiator, but it cooled just fine. It's funny how some cars are just happy like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't take much to keep them at temperature, and then other ones are just fighting you. Cousin Mike saying, I think a Bear 5.0 is about 250 pounds. I wonder how much that 400 was. I was tempted to cherry pick it into the back of the boss's truck, but I was just like, why go through it all? Just pick it up, you know what I mean? And Danny Boyd saying a Dart radiator was probably big for the Iron Duke. I have an aluminum radiator for my Dart, and I know everybody's going to hate that, but couldn't afford a brass. Yeah, the 400 Ford, though, I still big piece of iron. Big piece of iron. I really liked that engine. Working on it was cool. Did some drilling and burring, did the oiling mods on it, and I wonder how it's going to run. You know, I was pretty confident about all my work, and then Ray put it together, and I was like, well, it's probably a grenade now. Hubie's Garage is talking about Corvairs. He's saying the best Corvair build I have seen is on John Reynolds' YouTube channel, Amazing Fab Skills. He did a WRX Subaru Super Beetle and now building a transverse mounted LS and a Corvair. Hubie, you can link it if you want to. Throw on the phone again. Chris Sanders is saying, I got an aluminum 3-row radiator in my Lincoln off of eBay. It runs cool. It's crazy. It runs so cool. It's crazy. That's what matters. Dave Lewis is saying, I love the TV shows, high dollar cars and the shittiest engine hoist ever made. Yeah, it's funny what people want to spend on and what they don't. You know what I mean? That's why people probably laugh at me for spending so much money on my hand tools, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? I used one of the cool things we had at the shop was one of those engine pivots with the adjustable. You can adjust the angle with a screw on top. Just make it pivot, and I thought that was really cool. It saved you a lot of marring and adjusting and prying and everything else. Brian M saying, Hubie, I bought the Stroker Ace movie from Bargain DVD the Bargain DVD box at Walmart. They have some gold in there sometimes. They really do. Hubie just linked John Reynolds' channel. you can check out the WRX Subaru Super Beetle, as well as the transverse mounted LS inside of a Corvair. Buff Del Campo saying, I built a cooling system for a Corvair with a 425 Tornado engine. I should say mid-engine. Jeez, Buff, that's awesome, man. See, stuff like that's so completely over my head, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard to, like, I could help, but I definitely couldn't think it out. You know what I mean? UB's Garage is saying, Brian M, I probably should buy it. We have about 2,500 DVDs that my wife had collected. I have just about every good car movie. Yeah, Hubie's collection is pretty excellent. And he's got all the Blu-rays, you know, everything's high definition. He's got a very large TV. It's cool watching movies with Hubie. Didn't Charlie Daniels do the theme to Stroker Ace? Oh, man. Crack myself up here. I'm sitting here. Been sitting too long. Chris Cadman's saying, well, Ari, I have to work on those greasy, smelly, nasty diesel tractors tomorrow. Ciao, good night. Best to you and a new job. Thanks so much, Chris. I appreciate you coming through, man. Hope you and Heidi have a good night and everything, and have a great week, brother. Be safe, and I mean, you're working on tractors, so check your fluids, man. Buff Del Campo saying it was like a Pantera, steel tubing running underneath with a radiator up front. That's slick. Olive saying, hang on to hard copies. The rest comes through wires that can be turned off. Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of the reason I collected so many vinyl records. I'm like, you know, when the bombs drop, I got to re-educate the children. Chopcat saying, Mrs. Cat turfed almost all our DVDs except for the TV Starsky and Hutch series. You'd be saying, yep, you finally got to see Two Lane Blacktop. Yeah, I did. And I really liked that movie, man. That one was cool. You know what I mean? That a lot of those 70s movies are really weird and vague. I liked it a lot more than Crazy Harry, Dirty Mary. I can never remember the name of the damn movie. I liked it a lot more than that movie, that's for sure. I thought it was great. There's so many classic lines in it, too. 3 yards. Alva's tapping out. Yeah, guys, I'm getting right here around 3 hours. I'll probably go ahead and call it a night if it's okay with you guys. Got a little bit to do in the morning, not a lot, but, you know, go learn a few things. Try not to break anything, you know. Yeah, Vanishing Point was kind of that movie was really vague. I mean, I'm just sitting like we're just it's like Kowalski just flooring it the whole movie, and it's like, all right, okay, I'm with you there, Shopcat. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and probably call it a night. I got to start that training in the morning. I'm gonna be up bright and early, and you know, seize the day. See what I can do. But thank you guys for stopping in. Everybody who contributed to the conversation. I really appreciate you guys. It's always fun. I'm always learning something. It's always a fun Sunday night. And I hope everybody has a great week, prosperous week. And I really appreciate all the help and the kind words and advice on the truck. Hubie, I really appreciate all your help. Needless to say, man, you saved my ass. But yeah, everybody have a great week. Be safe out there. Watch out for fake hurricanes. And check your fluids. Thanks, Dave. Have a great week, guys. Thank you. Wrong way. Thanks, guys.